There's Jared.
Sleepy
Green.
there, bro?
Should be no. I shouldn't even never have that word in my lexicon after the last 3 months of just sleeping and eating off.
It's just...
I'm just mentally exhausted of all the world fuckery, I guess, to keep it a buck.
I mean, you didn't have to deploy to World War II or whatever old people like to say.
my generation, your generation. It's like some kid crying, and then like the sad realization as that most of those people were not posting that were nowhere near combat arms, like ever, like even remotely close. Most of those people are 100 years old now, so it's not your generation.
It was like your dad's.
It was your dad's generation. By the way, not the best generation, huh?
Turns out. Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought people... It's not like they, like, went to World War II for the explicit reason to, like, handle the Nazi Jew killers. It was like, we're dragged into
literally
this.
the country told me to.
Yeah.
By threat of arrest.
We still hate niggas. We're gonna treat you real bad when we get back. Don't you worry. All this,
especially the ones that are here with me. I hate the ones that are here with me the most.
Harlem warfighters. We hate the most. Welcome back. That's how we're opening it. We're gonna get more unapologetically black every episode. Every episode, it's gonna be something new.
How far can we go?
How far can you ask this now, Jarrett, but you don't know the power of that.
Just open with I don't know if you've seen. There was a relatively infamous professional wrestler named New Jack.
Okay.
New Jack.
I'm into it.
Known ECW legend, also known for being probably like a sociopath.
Okay.
Has gravely injured multiple people many times. On three occasions, almost killed someone. One of those occasions, at least, definitely wanted to, and it just didn't work out.
Well,
when he started his career in the South with don't remember which place, his
doesn't matter.
His gimmick turned into like a Black Power gimmick. And
is that gonna be us?
He did maybe the best promo I've ever seen. Right around the OJ incident. And I won't play it, but listeners, if you're interested, Google it.
You should
maybe
play it.
That's our future.
Maybe that's our future. Only to preceded by Booker T's I'm
coming
for you, nigga!
For Hulk Hogan, which would turn out to be pretty accurate.
Right. Considering the turn of events after that.
Maybe he should have.
Hey, no one's surprised.
Nah, by Hogan, no. He had like a racist face the whole time.
I'm more surprised that it took that long into his career. Like dementia had.
Well, remember, he was like most of his fame happened before social media. So like, it took his daughter being on social media and like trying to be a star in her own right, and then meeting black people for us to find out that maybe he's problematic.
Yeah, it's okay though, right? I mean, like, he's so old and white. Like,
I mean. Yeah, it's probably fine. Like,
what's
what can
his
you
pull? It's not like he was like waving Confederate flags around on WWE and like spitting on black people as they walk by.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like he was like just.
He was the kind of racist that we expected. Not really any more or any less.
Like that FedEx guy that was like kneeling on the fucking dude outside of his house in Franklinville. That got fired from FedEx or whatever. That's what I expect.
Or the one who had was it a Snapchat? And she was like, felt cute, might hit some protesters later or something.
Oh Jesus!
Posting it, like leaning at her truck or something.
Oh, I don't. The Franklinville guy, like I don't. He couldn't be heard, but I can only imagine him like this. He was just singing the words, "I am a real man," as he was kneeling on the.
I can't imagine there weren't at least like 6 or 7 instances of the N-word.
I mean, it looks like he was saying
Right.
something hard. Like
There
he
were
was
hard R's.
shouting.
I don't know. It could.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could have been refrigerator. He
could've
could have
been
just
like,
been screaming refrigerator. But he probably wasn't.
I really disagree with this. This is not good. I am with you.
This action here is the one I meant
this.
that I think should be banned.
Reprehensible. That's the hard R he was using.
Yeah.
Reprehensible.
It was a really long game of charades.
Yeah. And then he just...
Yeah, he was like trying to describe it to his friends. You know that thing that the cop did? All right, with the knee. All right, I'll come outside. Let me show you.
You didn't see it? It was bad timing. It was a case of bad timing. It's a case of real... This is like what people look like in the comment section, though, like trying to figure out a way. Like, you ever see that meme where it's like that white woman looking up and it's like math equations all around her head? Like, how can I figure out how to justify whatever this racist said? I love it. This is amazing. This is the best.
What they
time
normally do is just wait for like something else bad to happen, like related to it, or wait for like the inevitable follow-up reporting where it's like, this dude maybe stole some Black and Mild from the bodega once.
Yeah. 10 years ago.
And then they're like, I guess he deserved to die then, because who would steal Black and Milds?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He deserved to get choked to death because he sold a Lucy. This has happened like so many times.
How dare he
before,
use counterfeit 20s?
Yeah. I know like white people that use counterfeit 20s to do cocaine. Like they're fine.
Yeah. Turns out it was alright. Turns out they didn't die.
There's one thing, and I don't want to be disrespectful to the memory of George Floyd because we obviously disagree with what happened, right? We'll take that stance. We'll take that
risky stance. That
harrowing stance, that risky stance, that what happened to him was so crazy and that all of this is somehow justified. There's one thing that has emerged, and it feels so tasteless, but like at the same time, like I just feel like it's information that people should know. He was on a porn that I frequent. I think it's the Habib show, George Floyd. And I watched the porn. It's good work. And I applaud him for that. He is truly my hero. That's the hero that I want in my life.
God.
Thank God. No, it's really strange to see like there was basically no way for like most of the countries on board. It seems like with I mean at least on social media and all that other shit that I see. It seems like most rational human beings like, nah, there needs to be some repercussions for that. But it's still refreshing to see that there's still people holding out. There's still people holding out that no matter what can be said, no matter how dead to rights you had to those police officers, they're still trying to figure. No, he could have died from COVID. I've seen that so many times.
The first autopsy was like, yeah, it was definitely the heart disease he had or whatever. It definitely wasn't the strangling that he received.
Yeah.
There's no evidence that the knee on his neck for 9 minutes where we watched him pass out was the reason he died.
Right. Yeah, 3 people holding his body down, and then 1 person holding his fucking his knee on his whole body weight. Nothing to do with it. And then the people are like, let's just go ahead and get that independent autopsy done because
it's weird how when the state-sponsored autopsy comes back like that, the response is like, let's burn down the police precinct. Who'd have thought that would work?
Yeah. I'm glad they did. I feel nothing that they burned that.
I mean, 2 days later, they arrested the dude finally. So, like, if that's what it takes, then fine.
It fucking worked, right? We should have been doing this the whole time. Not we. I'm not burning anything down. But I agree.
I would make a bad arsonist.
Mostly. Yeah.
I don't know.
Why?
I don't think I'm very like creative with fire.
You have to be creative with fire.
I feel like arsonists are like artists. They're more than just people who burn shit down.
You're saying it's a title, not
if I
not
can
a
definitely
criminal,
be a dude who's burned something down. I don't see myself being an arsonist. I wouldn't like.
So an arsonist is like a serial murderer.
Right, but a serial burner of things, I would see. I don't think I have that sort of skill.
Yeah, certainly. I hadn't thought about it like that, Jarrett, but at this stage, there's a lot of MMA to talk about, but we gotta cover the world events. I feel like every major show at this point has covered, the recent events because those are the most valuable things that like our world. Not so much. They've died down a little bit. There's not as much.
I mean, I guess this week.
I mean, there's like some rating. Yeah, like as like it was bad last week, and then people were like, maybe we should have more peaceful stuff. And then you know, like Minneapolis looks like fucking Fallout 3. LA went all types of crazy. And the other thing that's kind of de-escalated it, and this is what I guess the overall thing that that this whole everything from the rioting, looting, protesting, you know, whether it be violent or non-violent, that the ultimate goal was like an immediate change in response by our enforcement. So far, the enforcement's like, you know what? Let's take a hot five, right? Let's take a hot five. Let's take a knee. Some of you might resign. Since all that's been happening, shit's been going pretty good. So far, I mean, the protests have gotten more largely not, they're huge and they're mostly non-violent. Most of them are non-violent. That was the biggest knock, right? That these protests are so large in number and they're getting violent, but now they're organizing pretty well. They have like a pretty, like, I was on board with the Occupy Wall Street shit, like, after a day, or for a day, and then after that day, I was like, you guys don't, like, know what you're doing, huh?
Y'all just sleep in Central Park, huh?
You're just kind of, yeah, you just don't have jobs, and that's it. So I couldn't get behind it. Like, there was, like, for the first couple of days, black people showed up, they're like, hey, this could be our thing, too, and then they're like, no, not as much. We're not going to organize around that as much. And then it just kind of fell apart. Whereas, like, here, it's like, there seems to be, like, this is what we want from our police, you know, whether it be defunding or, you know, more accountability or changing training procedures and, you know, having a better outreach between the police department and the community. Like, these are all, like, viable things that should have already been done anyway, but these are things that are starting to come into fruition now because we burned some shit down. Now you fucking know who runs the show.
Occupy also kind of happened. I was going to say it happened at a time before we got good at protesting, but that's not true. I think the people who decided to occupy were people who were never in these circles to do these kind of things. Like, it's funny, like, when anybody asks, like, especially after Black Lives Matter, but like, for a long period of time before, there have always been groups of people who have the answers to your questions about, like, what should we do about police? Yeah. Like, we've been thinking about this shit since, like, the 40s. Like...
Right.
You just gotta ask the right people. Like,
right.
And we've been trying to tell you for a long time.
And you know, and to your point, unfortunately, the media, and you see it all the time. What about black on black crime? Well, what about, like, literally, if you talk about white on white crime, you wouldn't go outside if you looked at the numbers. Right. If you look at the numbers on white crime, black on black crime doesn't exist. It's just crime, right? So that's the shit that they fixate on. And then on top of that, the media will only cover the nasty parts of of rioting. Not so much more now. Now I see a lot more covering of regular shit. But, you know, they're giving all this ammunition in the way that, like, oh, you know, there's always, like, a fucking excuse for why they couldn't make certain changes. Always. When it comes to schooling, when it comes to, you know, making a uniform format for state schools, like, to have, like, the same amount of resources as other places, there's always a fucking reason why they can't do it. And now you kind of see where that has leaked into police, I mean, like, not leaked, it's, like, definitely in our police departments, where they will come up with excuses for why they can't choose things, and now we've made it fucking undeniable. You have to do it, or we're gonna burn your fucking precinct down, and then we're gonna go wait outside your fucking houses because they're, like, doxing people's houses. They're like,
and it's the only response, right? Because these police unions protect police officers in ways that no other union can in this country. Like, if you're in a shooting or something, or there's some sort of police related fuckery. Like, even if it's on camera, it's the media and lots of these places where where these unions get to sort of negotiate as hard as they want. Like, we can't get the name of the officer. Like, they're not allowed to show us the footage for, like, 72 hours or some shit. It gives them time to get their story straight. There are repercussions. There are built-in sort of contractual walls that you have to, like, breach before you can even fire someone. Like, the only thing we can do as people who want to hold these people accountable is make them as afraid as they make the people that, like, they deal with every day. So, like, if I can't know who this person is, I can't get your badge number from the chief of police when I'm asking you directly because we know this dude is out here. I'll just go. I'm going to put this dude's face on the internet. Someone's going to find out where he lives, and then I'll ask him personally.
Right.
And like, it shouldn't have to be like that, but it's gonna be like that. And
that's what it's gotta fucking be now. That's what it's gonna be. Like, you can't just do that shit anymore, dude. Like, I mean, we said that like 20 murders ago, but now you really can't.
I think it took a lot of people to get in the mood, to get themselves activated, and
yeah,
hopefully this means we are, so that the next time this happens, the response is swift, and hopefully, both sides understand what happens next, and we can just get this out of the way and not take it like a week and a half to figure it out.
Not take 2 weeks to burn down.
You don't have to turn your city into Gotham to make this work. Like,
it was so dead to rights. Every city in the world, fuck it. We're torching They've torched everything. Everything is burned. Everything is gone. Philly's all fucked up. Trenton Walmart's all fucked up. It's great.
Walmarts were like locking down across the country.
Yeah, right. How crazy would it be? Because there's a lot of Walmarts we can just buy guns. If the Walmarts just like had a last stand,
they had to arm the employees.
Yeah, to keep them out. There's a lot, and my other favorite thing is like usually we only see this around Halloween. Around Halloween every single year, white people put their lives on the line and put on blackface, and they lose everything they love. And now we get to see it. With like the Franklinville incident, or some white woman yelling at she just happened to be Spanish and buying candy,
got the whole
whatever,
like the Holy Ghost slapped out of her by this chick.
Yeah, she slapped the shit out
of her. And her husband was like posted a video I think today, like apologizing for her, crying.
He's like, oh please. And the main reason is like they had a law firm. He's like, we're not gonna sue, even though she slapped first or whatever. He always had there's always the last word in or whatever. But it's because 5 years ago, they'd be like, she's an animal.
How dare her?
Sue her. Yeah. How dare she slap that white porcelain face? But now they don't want to get their shit fucking tarred and feathered.
Especially when like the whole encounter's on video. Like, what was she supposed to do? Just like be Gandhi and just.
She pushed her. In my eyes, I don't care if you're a woman. You keep your hands to yourself. Get slapped up in this 7-Eleven at 9:00.
She's over here just trying to buy some gummy bears or whatever the fuck.
That's right. You know what? I'm calling all black men to slap white women who are wilding the fuck out in public.
Please don't.
You heard it here first.
If you do that, I hope you're a huge fan of the Black Codes, because they're coming back.
Yeah.
With a vengeance.
Yeah. This is the Black Lives Matter podcast, everybody. We're gonna change. We're pivoting with the times. We've been consistently pro-black our whole podcast, though.
So it's really just consistent.
It's consistent. It's just now we can get even more reckless.
Yeah, we have a license to be reckless for at least like a couple more weeks.
A couple more weeks before they crack back
down. Yeah. And they're like, you guys,
back at it again at the Krispy Kreme.
You crazy racists.
All right. We extended Black History Month for another couple weeks or whatever.
Yeah, you guys got a free Black History Month in June. Congrats.
Congrats. That shit's on layaway for next year. There's no Black History Month next year.
We got next year's Black History Month early.
Yeah, in advance. That was it's been a wild few things. I shouts out to Mike Beltran. I want to try to get him on because he's got some. He didn't check me. I didn't get checked. Check it. Because he made it like a race thing. I wasn't even saying it about you. I was like, just fucking burn the shit down. Burn it down! Fuck it! Like, who cares? But I love going to his page now. It's him just like cholos defending like like sneaker stores and shit with guns. It's great. Mike Beltran's fucking an interesting individual, man. He's like unique. He's got a unique story. Mostly. I'm pretty sure he's got an immigrant family.
I think he's Mexican, isn't he?
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I don't know if he's Mexican or not. Beltran seems like a super Mexican name. I guess that's racist. I'm sorry, Mike Beltran. I didn't mean to be racist. No, unless I'm confusing stories, I'm fairly positive that he comes from an immigrant family and he went like into the military as he got older. So he's like one of the actual American dream.
Actually, I think he's
I think
I know that because there might have been like a trivia thing I was like in earshot of, and we were talking about surprise Cubans, and what's his name? Rubio, not a surprise Cuban necessarily, but Mike Beltran, I think, was on that list, and that is a surprise Cuban.
He speaks Spanish. He's with the shits. Yeah, no, I mean, I never interpreted him. It wasn't like I wasn't really commenting on what Mike Beltran said, because I do kind of agree with some of what he says. Some of it is like, I think he's got a background in law enforcement, if I'm not mistaken. I know he was definitely in the military, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm fairly positive that he might have been involved in law enforcement. I could be wrong about that, but regardless, his sentiment was like, there are always there's a few good cops and yada yada yada. The whole neutral, like it's almost neutral, but it's always leaning towards like the thin blue line. And in my opinion, I don't really agree with the thin blue line in the police force, because it kind of creates a culture where I don't trust everybody. So just because you have a thin blue line and it's honorable for people to do the right thing, and there's like a lot of people out there who do the right thing and they cover for each other in certain ways, people use it to cover up shit. And you can look at police departments that have done it all the time. The Rampart Police Department in LA, that Minnesota PD, that 3rd precinct that they burnt time, has had a fucking long history of really dumb shit that's happened between them and racial groups in that area. Baltimore's PD, I think I might have said that, but at the LA, New York's police departments had a long history of fuckery. So the problem isn't that it's honorable, that the job is honorable. The problem for me is that you have this secret society where you, like you said before, you can cover each other in ways that shouldn't be permitted. You can cover your ways. I'm sure even if it's like 90% of the time it's for a good reason and 10% if it's not, that 10% affects black people disproportionately, and that's the argument. There needs to be a check in place. Internal affairs is a joke. Obviously, they've had internal affairs this whole time, and fucking nothing's come about in most of these cases, right? So it's like, you can say you have all these provisions in place for people of color or even poor white people. Hey, poor white people, they're fucking you guys up too. They're fucking you guys up too. So it's just a matter of like police brutality disproportionately affecting black people, but there's a problem with the current system, and that is my argument. It isn't that there's a few good cops. Yes, there's a fucking few good grocery workers too. Like, it's a job. You have a job. I get it. Like, there are plenty of heroes out there who rush in to the Twin Towers when they were going down, when they knew it was coming down. That's not for them. It's not, the statement isn't for them. If you're doing the job, good. I'm not praising you for doing your fucking job. You did your fucking job. That's what we expect out of you. Like, if you're a gas attendant and you like fucking put shit in my leg, I expect you to do that. That's what you do. You chose to be there. You do not have to be. If you were ripped from your home at 5 years old and now that's your job, because we're like, maybe Rush Limbaugh and fucking what's his name, Alex Jones are correct. Maybe they like fucking start implementing socialist communist ideas and they start ripping people out of their homes and making super soldiers. If that happens to you, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry that you had to fucking get ripped out of your mother's clutches and they had to fake kill you to make it look like, so they wouldn't ask any more questions, and now you're a super soldier for the government. That's a shit roll of the die. I'm willing to bend the knee there in that way. But if you're just some fucking dude who was like on the high school football team and didn't make it to D2 program because you tore your ACL or whatever, and now you're a cop, and now you're just and you happen to be racist, I don't give a fuck about what you do in your spare time. Like, you chose to do that job.
It's like, I don't know why you would want, or I definitely know why someone would want to feel this way, but I don't know why we should all be sort of coerced and convinced to like canonize and sort of make saints out of anyone who wants to be a cop just because you want to be a cop. Like, we have this whole mentality that like this job, this profession, this sort of position that exists as a public service is also somehow better than all the other ones, and that we should only speak about these people like they are like angels who have come to bless our streets and make them safe. When no one had
with the old shillelagh, old Irish shillelagh
is like running around having just like these these hugely sort of impactful, over the top, positive relationship, like interactions with police officers. Like, their job there is to just settle problems and like make sure no one's like fucking wilding in the streets. Like that's your job, is to be a person, an enforcer of what we understand to be the law. You don't have to be my hero. I don't want you to be my hero, and you shouldn't want to be my hero.
And the protests have even summarized like how ineffective they are at keeping people from wilding out without they have no other recourse.
The only way they can interact with anyone is shoot them to make them do anything.
Yeah. What fucking like you see them, like, you know, sometimes it's nice that they did the whole photo op and they knee and whatever, but you know, you should have kept that same energy when Colin Kaepernick was doing that. By the hey, this would have all been fucking done way earlier in advance if you had just like listened to that silent protest. That's neither here nor there. But you know, it's like throw your hands off the wheel or murder. Like, we don't know what else to do. Our training passed you not complying. We don't have a way to figure out how to do that. So like now we see people like whole cities in what is it, in Seattle, they just gave up a whole fucking like 3 or 4
it was very The Wire. They're just like, fuck this whole part of the city, I guess, because we're not gonna go in there.
Yeah, we're done going in there. You guys can police yourself. And it just seems like that's the only, they just give up, they walk away, or that you die. So this should further highlight
that there's an issue here that the police don't solve.
Unsafe you are. Right. Right. This whole idea that the police are going to be able to remedy most situations by being getting ahead of preemptive, like almost like thought police in a way. Like look, they'll just pull you over and then figure out what you did wrong on the pullover. Like they'll you know, like, oh well, you have a taillight out, or oh you have something obstructing in your window because I couldn't find a legitimate reason for why I'm fucking with you. You know, so it's just hilarious. But yeah, that wasn't my thing with Mike Beltran, was to like put that, like, he took it as like I'm attacking his race.
No, I think a lot of people see, or you have an assumption of a person on the internet look a certain way and says this particular thing from a particular side of the issue, that they're here saying the same thing. And I think that's just the way the internet conditions.
He's all day. He's probably just getting peppered because he answers he's on. Listen, you can say whatever you want about Mike Beltran. You might not agree with him, but he's like a salt of the earth person. If you comment on his shit or you message him, he fucking takes the time and he answers messages and he answers comments and he gives a valid fucking opinion, which is not the main reason. I've always been a fan of mixed martial arts, and he's like an icon in the sport, so that's the main reason why I want him on. But at the same time, he offers such a good counter argument that's not disrespectful. It's not like, me over you. I'm not trying to be mean. He gives his point of view where he comes from, and sometimes I agree with it, sometimes I don't. But it's respectful at the end of the day. You can have an open dialogue with him, and that's why you see. And after that post, he must have had like 50,000 people like, "Fuck you, you Uncle Tom, piece of shit." Like it could have been any number of things. So which is why I didn't respond angrily. If he said some, crazy, he didn't even say anything crazy back. He just, he's been attacked pretty much all day. That whole post. And then all the commenters were like piling on and shit, and they were misinterpreting what I was saying and all that. Like, it was it was messy at first. What was that meme? It's like, I gotta admit, you had us in the first half. And then, that's shouts out to Mike Beltran for having an open forum. You don't have a lot of people who have like a right wing personality or a standpoint or viewpoint and have like an open dialogue where people can post like counter arguments on their shit. But yeah.
Speaking of cops, did you hear that Tito Ortiz wants to be one?
Oh, Jesus Christ. He'll probably get it. And then he'll like further highlight the reasons why we
He's like the reason
we need to have
if I had to think of one
police.
Specific reason, it's not necessarily. Yeah. And I would normally say maybe Shaq when he became like a bike police officer in Miami, like.
Yeah, but it was funny.
I think he recognized that it was actually like he's not going to enforce the law. He's just going to check the badge on a bike, and that's fun. He's just there to.
People are gonna just look at big ass Shaq on a tiny bike going down a hill. Like that's what he's paying to see.
He understands what that image does, and it's funny. I think Tito Ortiz believes he's just gonna put someone's gonna want to follow him, and like he's gonna be the star of like whatever cop show is playing in his head right now. And as a person who has been battered by most people, I feel like that's not the next move for Tito Ortiz. I would like the next.
But here's
refuse
the
to just
problem:
sit the fuck down.
he very literally might be a police officer. He might be
I
a
think
police
he's trying to do
officer
it in LA
somewhere.
too, so like he's definitely going to be one. Because they don't give a
he's
fuck.
definitely a shoo-in. He's a shoo-in. Not only is he a legend in MMA, but he's like fucking. Have you followed his social media at all on Instagram or Twitter or anything?
Some of it.
It's beautiful, bro. It feels like he's trolling. I don't know if he's trolling.
I don't know if he is or not. Like,
but I don't think he is. I think he's being serious.
There was a time when I assumed
serious.
like this was all an act, and I think that time is over because there's nothing to like promote. I think this is just him now. This is just how he lives.
It's just him. Do you think he's forgotten who he is and now he's just been consumed by this?
Has he like Ric Flaired himself?
He's gone too deep. Yeah, yeah, he's just gone too deep.
Maybe, or maybe he was always this deep, or like maybe he wasn't very deep at all, and like had no personality, created a character, and then like fell into it. He's like, this is actually works for me because like this is better than what I was before, which is just like a weirdo. Now I'm a weirdo with purpose and morals.
I gotta see if I can find that one clip of him disparaging that poor 75-year-old man that got his skull cap opened up in Buffalo. Here it is, I think.
They're protesting of a guy getting supposedly killed by an officer.
Supposedly!
And the reason I say supposedly because to put your knee on the back of the guy's neck and choke him unconscious to death from that's not what it was. I choke people for a living. That's not what it was.
That's his only defense of George Floyd. That wasn't a choke.
I choke people for a living. So clearly, I choke for 9 minutes at a time.
9 minutes at a time. It's just, I don't know. I don't have...
So Tito Ortiz walked so that...
oh, God. Officer Chauvin can choke.
Officer Chauvin can run?
Yeah.
Maybe. No. So that... well, God, I forgot his name too. And that's great because I think maybe Kamaru Usman starched him from my memory. Which would be...
Oh, he put Kobe Covington? Tito crawled, so Covington.
And by sprint, I mean like for like a year and then just fall over.
I'm curious to see what Covington's been even saying this whole time. I haven't even seen anything. He hasn't said anything stupid.
I think he might have said it stupid, but nobody cares anymore. Kobe Covington's like reach was only as important as, or would only last as long as he could continue winning.
Only thing I see is opening up back business, butt, American Raw Steel, keto.
I think he did a thing with Candace Owens on the 7th.
Everyone does something with Candace Owens, though.
I would like someone to do something with Candace Owens' hair.
It's very strange. It's like everything else is very well done, but then she
and like I don't want to.
This is now the metrosexual.
I don't want to
podcast.
be like the, shit on our black sisters corner. That's not what I'm here to do.
That's what she's here.
Yeah, that's what she's here to do. I just think I have a black mother and a black sister. I've seen they sell Dark and Lovely all types of places. They're very cheap.
They do.
She's got to be making some money, like.
Well, she's so far removed from black culture.
She probably has no idea. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like she grew up in Connecticut. Like she's like a girl from Connecticut. Just imagine a person from Connecticut. Like she is a person from Connecticut.
I just wish that like PragerU can't get her a couple like dollars for like a box set with some relaxer. I don't know, dude. This
is someone who literally doesn't believe in climate change, and she doesn't have a reason why. She was on Joe Rogan's fucking podcast, and she's like, I don't believe in it. And he's like, why don't you believe in it? She's like, I don't know. It's like,
I just wish she.
He's like, then why do you have such a hard stance?
I wish she believed in shea butter. That's all I care about.
Yeah, that's. You don't care about her political opinions. You just want her to use shea butter.
I think that's gonna help her more than any of this. I don't know, whatever this character she's playing on the internet to like stand out, and carve her way in this community and this particular like political circle that really needed someone like her in it.
Yeah.
Whatever benefits that's giving her, I just feel like Shea Butter is going to do her way more.
That's an Afrocentric aura you got to carry around, right? So she's trying to depart from that. So like when you meet somebody who uses shea butter, you smell the shea butter. You're like, this person knows what's good, right? Fucking what was Chris Rock? She's like, you meet Michelle Obama, she looks like she smells like shea butter. Okay, she wants to remove herself from just the luxuries of black.
Oh, she's trying to do the
cosmetic shit. Ultimate. Yeah, it's the ultimate. What's the word you used earlier that I'm blanking on right now? Boycott. It's the ultimate boycott of black business. Is not using shea butter.
She's trying to boycott the whole Michelle Obama vibe.
Shouts out to my shea butter, right here. Actually.
I just, I don't know. I just think she should try it for like 10 days. See how she feels.
I think she's more scared that she'll like it and become more black.
She'll like it and then believe in climate change.
Missing out. Yeah. She's like, climate change is legit and black lives do matter. You know what my favorite thing about All Lives Matter is? It's like, it's very clearly, like, you know how, like, the Confederate flag was, like, only made a resurgence because people are racist? like in the 60s and 70s or in, like, the Black Panther movements and the Civil Rights movements and shit. Like, my favorite thing about, like, that's us right now with All Lives Matter. And, like, it's been so repulsive to me as a response that I haven't really thought about it. But now that I really think about All Lives Matter, and this isn't going to go the way you think it's going to go, by the way. If you're listening to it, this is the part where he turns around! No, I'm doubling down, actually, on why All Lives Matter is so ridiculous. It's like, do all lives matter? Like, Ted Bundy's life matters? Like, where do we stop? Who's all?
Well,
if all lives matter, then all the people that died that happen to be black, then
you mean all
correct.
The people except the ones you're talking about right now.
Yeah, right. Like, fucking Kim Jong-un? Like, his too?
Kim Jong-un's life matters.
Usama? You love Usama now. This is the hill you die on. You love all lives. So, fucking, you love Hitler and Usama. That's what it is.
This is what you said.
Those are your guys. Yeah, hey, if you truly die on that hill with that, I'm like, hey, that's the most Christian shit I've ever heard, man. If you're like, fucking Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, you're on the board with that guy, then fucking, listen, hey, man, you live by the sword, die by the sword.
Jesus would have loved Hitler,
Jesus would have loved Hitler. He would have been like,
hey man, I don't know what you're doing here. I don't like it though. Maybe you should just, hang out.
He's like, but Jesus, I love you. He's like, but I'm a Jew. And then
plot twist.
Hitler's like, fuck, I forgot about that part. MMA, y'all. Oh, you know what? Let's give before we go into the MMA world, let's give the fucking, the top black people in our sport the shine that they deserve, right? Mike Perry. Shouts out to Mike Perry, right? For, I went to his page. I was like, surely he's gonna say something like that's gonna be pro-black. No. So we're on the Angela Hill bandwagon. We're on the Angela Hill bandwagon, okay? She canceled Mike Perry before. This podcast is going to cancel Mike before. You disparage the Black Lives Matter movement. You're pro-Trump, and you're out. You're out of here, Mike Perry. I'm sorry. You're done. You're finished. Finito, okay? You don't forget your roots when it mostly matters, okay? You're 2% black. You should know better. You should know better, it's Mike Perry, okay?
And, we should listen to Angela Hill sooner.
Yes. Again, she was our sports.
Yes, she was.
In that
she
way. She's doing really well. She dressed
up as Sagat when we needed her most. She got robbed against what's her name a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, she beat her. She definitely beat the brakes off her for sure. Like, it wasn't even remotely close. She got robbed. That was a big robbery. Angela Hill beat her ass. But Angela Hill's real as shit. I love Angela Hill. Tyron Woodley, I'm sorry you took that very lackluster L last week, but I still love you. You're still one of the greatest of all time.
I'm still definitely not going to stream that rap album, but
definitely not doing.
Proud of you. He was, and I don't know if it's like he was very good and won't be there again, or he's just in a rut and is looking for his way back. But there was a time when Tyron Woodley was the sport, whether the UFC wanted to admit it or not.
He was knocking out your favorite fighter,
and he was
knocking him out.
He was doing it in such a masterful way, and then he would immediately be at the post the press event, like completely knocking down everything that was said about him before, like being very combative to like punching up in like the right ways.
Yeah.
Especially when he
except for his
when like the first sort of set of McGregor like championship streak wins, like their whole dynamic next to each other, I thought was very interesting and very important.
Hey, you remember when he KO'd Robbie Lawler in his partner? He killed all the Great White Hopes, all of them. He was the OG Great White Hope.
He was
killer.
like the first person who was like, fuck Robbie Lawler and just beat the shit out of him.
Fucking Darren Till thought he was gonna go in there and do the fucking what was that movie with Brad Pitt and the Pikeys? Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. He thought he was gonna do that shit, and he got sent to the Shadow Realm. It was so horrible.
Wonder Boy twice.
Wonder Boy twice, and everyone gives him shit for that, but you go in there and you fight him. And he knocked him down in both of those fights, I'm pretty sure, right? That was the only action in the fight because Wonder Boy was too scared to pull the trigger. Who else he cremated? He cremated a lot of people in his career. He had a crazy fucking run. Like, you can put him up there as one of the greatest welterweights of all time to do it. I think Usman is starting to close down on that, though. I think Usman is starting to close that gap a little bit. It just seems like everyone's a little shooketh. Yeah.
Which good, because Usman's also very good.
Yeah, Usman is remarkably phenomenal athlete and fighter. Remarkably talented. He's the complete package. Good on the mic. He's got virtually fucking no scandals that you can point to. Got a lot of accolades as a wrestler. He's put his striking together pretty well. I'm fairly positive he's a Hard Knocks guy.
Usman?
I know he trains with Henry Hoops,
he
right?
has. I don't know that he. Yeah. I don't know if it's like a permanent residency thing, or he goes to Hoof for striking specifically, and then goes to.
Right. Oh, you're right. Because he goes to ATT.
Yeah, ATT,
right? Sure
and I think actually right now he's Black Zillion still. It's Stanford MMA now. I don't know if it's like it's not the same like group of people, but George Santiago, which is his BJJ coach, just gave him his black belt, and Henry Hoof were also like there at the time, so that's kind of why he still keeps those in his circle. But yeah, it's not the graduating class of like, you know, Rashad Evans and Thiago Silva and Vitor Belfort and Eddie Alvarez,
Jason Jackson.
You know.
Shouts out to Jason Jackson. Love that guy. Very good fighter. Very underrated.
Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah.
Had
Aljo!
Had a good weekend. He's coming on asses apparently.
Yeah. Oh, I recorded it. I'm like, this is gonna go viral soon. Something's gonna come up, and it's something. He's gonna say something controversial, and then that's gonna circulate. I can already see it coming now. No pun intended. And I love that you can see in his face mid him saying
fuck it happened.
No. I'm coming in your ass.
I think the first time I saw it was him retweeting it. I was like, yeah, I did this. This is me.
Yeah. That's how you get ahead of it. You gotta fucking own it. You gotta fucking completely own it, because if you let the Twitter trolls get creative, their response is gonna be so much worse than whatever shame you feel for saying it. But regardless of the fact, and back to the killing of the Great White Hopes, because this is what this podcast is about, the killing of the Great White Hopes, okay? I don't know if you ever saw Howard Stern's movie, fucking Private Parts, but there's a part where he does like a militant black dude, and it's kill the white man. It's like slam poetry. That is this podcast. We're killing the white man on this podcast, okay? And he took Sanhagen. Was that Sanhagen? Yeah, that was Sanhagen. He choked him to death. He died, and he melted him in the process. He didn't have to throw any strikes. He got on his back, and he just fucking manhandled him. Shouts out to fucking Aljamain Sterling. I'm fairly positive he's from New Jersey, and he trains out of New Jersey. He comes from the CFFC, which fights out of Bristol and Atlantic City, and his brother is also another hopeful coming out of there, so watch out for his brother as well, too. Fucking Aljamain Sterling is the dog, and he's got filthy chains on, and he talks well on the mic, and he's not corny other than the time he said come on your ass, but up until that point, like, he was having a slam dunk of a fucking interview. Super athlete. He's rebounded from his loss. I feel like he lost 3 or 4 fights ago. I think he's on a 3 or 4 fight.
He lost in 2017, and I think that was like 5 fights ago. I'm trying to remember. I remember the Brett the Johns fight. I remember the Rivera fight. Rivera was like February, or February of last year, and then he fought like a year ago, almost to the day, against someone I can't remember. So yeah, that's like, I think it's like 5 fights. He's on a streak, as they say.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know if he lives in Jersey though. I think he came from New York and has fought in like North Jersey and like the Jersey circles, the CSFC, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I know he trains a lot in New Jersey because he trains with Mark Henry. I'm pretty sure, right? Is he one of Mark Henry's guys?
I think at a time, possibly. I don't know if he still is though. Like, I don't know if he's moved to Vegas like everybody else.
Right. But I know it's a big deal. Every time he's in the area because he like trains in the area and does shit.
I know we definitely treat him like
dope.
a hometown hero, and I don't know if that's just because New Jersey likes to co-op things or if he's actually from here.
Yeah. Well, let me see. I hope he's from like Patterson or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Aljamain Sterling. Okay, so he's born in Uniondale, New York.
Okay.
That's all I got so far. And he's of Jamaican descent. Yes, we know that part.
I think I for some reason thought he lived on Long Island.
He resides in New York. Yeah, he lives in Massachusetts.
All right, which is like, hey, Long Island, just like another New Jersey, if we're being serious. But I think also Massapequa was not that far away from New Jersey, so like it wouldn't be a stretch to see that he would like traveling into New Jersey to train or fight.
Right. At the very least, there is an. Oh, you know what? He trains with like Ray Longo and all those guys.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Sure. I'm fairly positive if he trains with them. And
with like Matt Serra and them. All right, so yeah, he's in New York, and then probably does train in New Jersey's too, because
sometimes
that's kind of like what they.
You're right there. Like I mean, it would be stupid not to. There's a lot of really good facilities.
And
in the
Sarah's
area.
like closely affiliated with what's his name, Ricardo Almeida, who's up in North Jersey. So that would make sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Ricardo Almeida BJJ gyms in South Jersey.
Yeah, including the one I'm a member of. So that will make sense.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, Aljo's the fucking shit. Bantamweight's pretty hot right now, right? I mean, like,
I would say
Henry Cejudo left it, and there was a little bit of worry of like what was going to happen to the flyweights and like what's going to happen with the belt. But it looks like, you know, with this good showcase, shouts out to the Uncle Dana for throwing this together. Hey, I'm going to call this the Black Lives Matter fucking UFC card because fucking White Hopes were being choked out and blasted. We're claiming Sean O'Malley is one of our own. Sean O'Malley is got the cosign from Snoop Dogg, and you know he's got the 6'9" colored hair.
Sean O'Malley have 2% black. Like, can we trade him for Mike
why
Perry?
couldn't Sean O'Malley? Can we trade him? We're gonna do the racial draft again in 2020, and we're gonna do some swapping. We're gonna trade Mike Perry for Sean O'Malley because I fucks with some Sean O'Malley. Before we get to the major card. I guess the you know, this was a great showcase of the bantamweights in general. You know, Aljo just kind of put everyone to bed. Like, I know Cody wants to fight. Did he say he wants to fight Peter Yan?
When?
Who does he say? Who did he say he was going to fight? Who the fuck did Cody Garbrandt said he's going to fight somebody? I completely forgot who he said he was going to fight. But regardless of the fact, I think it should be Aljo and Yan for the belt. To see who wins for the vacant belt. And then I would like to see Cody. I mean, technically he was 9. He beat the number 4 guy, so I guess he moves up maybe 5 or 6. I don't know. I would like to see Sean O'Malley fight Cody Garbrandt, to be honest. I think that would be good. That would be his good way in. He fucking Garbrandt had a great fight. I'm not going to sit here and say he didn't have a great fight, but homeboy was 9 for almost 3 years. He got knocked out 3 times back to back.
That's yes.
You know what I mean?
I think that's true. And I think this is a very good fight for Sean O'Malley. Stylistically, I think they work pretty well together, and like that, you know, we're going to get a strike fest for a good amount of this. And Cody Garbrandt is not ready for like a title fight. And it wasn't a freak knockout. Like he fucking Kazuya
He
Mishima
blasted
wave
him.
stepped
He timed
into
it well.
like a fucking uppercut and knocked this man into the Shadow Realm. What?
Yeah, he timed it to the last second of the fight. He's like, this guy gets lazy, and I'm gonna fucking blast him into another dimension. That was all fight IQ. You can't take anything away from him
that,
for that.
And that is something he maybe can't reproduce, but it's definitely something he did. He maybe didn't force to happen, but he knew he was waiting for the opportunity. You can watch the gears turn. That takes A, talent, but B, like training and experience.
Right.
And I think he needs to have more fights where he's allowed to sort of work again. To sort of work his way back into a title fight, because I don't know that this like completely negates the slide he was on before this.
Yeah. It was great. Hey, great performance, and we saw a good 2 minutes out of Cody. 2 rounds. We had a good solid 2 rounds out of Cody. We saw his level of skill improve. The big thing I was looking for Cody, as someone who's watched all of his fights so far up until this point, not all of his fights, but his fights in the UFC, his last 3 knockouts all came off that right-hand side. They all came off that right-hand side hook. And he didn't make the adjustments the first time around when he fought... obviously he didn't make the adjustments the first time, because that was the first time that he fought TJ. But TJ KO'd him with that right-hand side hook. Second fight around, he didn't make the adjustment. He got emotionally invested in the fight. He let it happen a second time. As a matter of fact, before he got knocked out with that hook, he got hit 2 times earlier in the fight with the same hook. So he wasn't making adjustments during the fight, and wasn't making adjustment leading up to the next one. And then when I forgot who KO'd him. I don't exactly remember who KO'd him the third time. But
Munoz, which is the last fighter I can remember that Aljamain Sterling beat.
Right. So Munoz, same side, might not have been the same setup, but we got the same result. He hit him with the right-handed hook, and he didn't make the adjustment. This time around, I watched him fight Rafael had been watching tape, and this time he was waiting on the reactionary, there was a point in the fight after the first round where he's like, I'm just not fast enough. There's no way I'm going to be able to stand in the box with this guy. I'm not going to be able to box with him. He knows how to wrestle, so I'm not going to be standing in front of him for too long. So we saw him sort of slink back into like a reactionary, like a defensive boxing, right? So we saw him try to throw off a wild punch and kind of off of Cody's advancement. Like Cody would come in, do a flurry, and he would try to go over the top or whatever it is. Every time he tried to go over the top with the right hand, which was historically the thing that you would have to go through against Cody to get that knockout, Cody was nowhere to be found. He got, and it's even scarier because Cody was going under his hooks, and he's much bigger than he was. He was still finding the boxing head movement to go under the punches, even though he was still shorter than he was. So Cody's made the adjustment. The question wasn't his athleticism. The question isn't his heart. The question isn't his willingness to fight. It was like, does he have the fight IQ to continue at a high level to make the adjustments, in my opinion at least, that you need to do against the top 5, right? And now he's shown that he can do that. But I still want to see him fight one more person before we start throwing his name in the ring. Like, I don't think he's going to fight Sean O'Malley, but I think for me as a fight promoter, but if I was a fight promoter, I would love to make that, because the whole world just watched Sean O'Malley knock that guy out. The whole world just watched Cody Garbrandt knock that guy out. Sean O'Malley has been waiting for his fucking payday and waiting to fight somebody in the ranks. And Cody was just ranked 9. Honestly, you could have made that fight ranked 9. Sean O'Malley versus Garbrandt for that fight. It isn't because it's only because he got that fight with Rafael. Because he's a company man. He was on the Ultimate Fighter. Like, he's one of those guys that they've been trying to build around and make a figurehead for the sport. But also he'd already been champion, so that's one of the reasons why he's going to get the top 5 bracket whenever he sees fit. And I understand why they made that fight, and obviously it didn't make that much of a difference what his rank was. He fucking knocked him into the anyway. But I would love to see him fight Sean O'Malley, because I think they would complement each other. That would be, in my opinion, Sean O'Malley's first true test as a wrestler in his career, because he's only fought tomato cans up until this point. We haven't seen what he looks like against a really good wrestler.
Fair, and I think it's important to know because there's pretty good wrestling in bantamweight. Right. If Cody was the first test, that'd be a good test for a Sterling, because he's a bigger, stronger Maybe not as, I don't know technically if he's a better wrestler, but like doesn't matter if you're like huge enormous. You can just kind of grip people up and hold them there.
Hey, Aldo's he's a big grippy dude too though himself. He's got the range. He's got such a weird stance too. Someone told me a rumor of Aljamain Sterling, like after wrestling practices and after jiu-jitsu practices, just taking a foam roller and just like fucking not triangle choking, like rear naked choking the fucking foam roller for like many minutes after a full practice. And we kind of got to see that strength on not Raphael, on Cody.
That sounds like
last week.
Psycho strength.
Yeah, no, he's unreasonably strong. But yeah, I definitely would like to see that matchup. But yeah, what do you think's gonna happen with Sean?
I mean, the future's bright for him. I think everyone is recognizing, if they didn't already, this. I feel like there's a lot more people talking about like this kid might like have star power. Finally. And the UFC is in need of stars. It just so happens this one's white, which is the UFC's favorite stars. So, like, he's checking all the boxes right now. I like him because he's a good fighter. He's a funny fighter. He's not like, he's not necessarily. I wouldn't say he has like a unique style necessarily, but I feel like just the way he delivers things that are like normal. They're just, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm watching Sean O'Malley do it, and I just don't connect those things because he's like I don't know. But I find him to be entertaining to watch. He's also very
he kills people so fast. He doesn't have like any raise in his heart rate, so he's able to say like funny things. Like Joe Rogan was like, you know, you had a higher level opponent this time around. You know, what did you do differently to prepare for him? He's like, absolutely nothing, Joe Rogan. And like he just continues, like that's it. He's like, I think that was worth 100 G's instead of 50 if you're asking me. Like he just like he's able to rattle stuff off. He just seems unbothered. Like he's great. I mean, also part of that is he smokes an enormous amount of weed.
Yeah, and I was gonna say he reminds me a lot of Matt Riddle. Maybe not in the same way, but like Matt Riddle always seemed like so incredibly effortless when he was just beating the shit out of people.
Right.
And even when he, was it Sean Pearson, I guess, Matt Riddle lost to a while ago, like 2010, like whatever. He lost to like a really kind of terse decision, and he was just like, whatever, bro. Like, and like, I always just find that to be hilarious. And I don't know that he is as like a giant physical specimen like Matt Riddle is, but like I get the same like just here to hang out, man vibes, and I think that's really funny.
Sean, another reason why I put Sean against some of the best guys is he's not the biggest guy in the world, but he is really big for bantamweight. As far as like literal like his tangibles go, like he's pretty tall, his range is pretty crazy, and he's a thicker guy, in the way that he's like super muscular. He's like 6'1", right? 6'1", 6'2"?
O'Malley, I think he's like 6. Yeah.
Yeah. He's much bigger than most guys at 135. And all he does is stream and smoke weed, and like, how could you not get behind that? Just, I'm with it.
And he hasn't been like no contested or DQ'd because of it yet, so like he's on the move.
Doesn't say the N-word either, so he's right. Like he's winning.
He's checking it, like, how can he lose?
Right.
Yeah,
by saying
that's it.
That's the one way. That's the one thing that could probably ruin it, derail his whole shit. But bantamweight is fucking on fire right now. Cejudo's almost wants to like come back. Like he went back on Joe's shit, and he was like, you know, there are a couple fights that I would take.
I know I retired 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. He's like, there's a couple fights, and to me that just means like he'll just come back when someone offers him like $2 million to like fight.
Which I don't know if he heard. That's probably not gonna happen.
It's probably not. I'm not at least under not this promotion. Maybe under one. Get that DJ match.
They definitely will spend stupid amounts of money for no reason. So like, get it.
Well, they have a deep. They have a, you know, that's kind of fucked up to say, but they have a deep little guy league. Like, you know, like they have a lot of really good fighters.
And more importantly, they like take it seriously. I feel like, or they at least they treat their stars like stars. Even if it is just like an international thing, like maybe they just always do that. But like, we definitely know the UFC doesn't give a fuck about you if you're like 155 or lower at least.
Oh, if you're not ranked, if you're like Sean O'Malley, it took Sean O'Malley this long to get like the recognition that he like before. This is also going to be a podcast where Trey walks back a couple things that he said. He's going to say a couple things that I'm going to have to walk back. One of those things is like I don't know how I felt before. I still am a little bit on the fence about it, but now he's got more leverage. Before, I'm like, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. He said that he wouldn't take any ranked opponents or any difficult opponents until they paid him more money, which is a sentiment that I do not disagree with, but I do not think you should say those words out loud when you're talking to your employer or your employer possibly setting you up fights. Because for two reasons. One, if I'm a fan hearing that, I'm like, well, then you're fucking not as good as you think you are, in my opinion. Not my opinion, but if I'm a fan and you're saying you're avoiding top-ranked opponents because you're not getting the money you want, then to me, you don't deserve to have those shots. There's a lot of people who think that way. Myself, I completely understand what he's saying. Get your money and get your bag, but you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, and now your employer's like, you're putting a fucking lot of unneeded pressure on me right now, and I'm the only sport, management company in the world. Not management company, but the sports promoter in the world that has sports going on. I'm giving you a job. So you're either going to take the fights that I'm going to give you or you're not. That's how I would feel Dana White is going to respond, which he has. He's literally said, hey, you don't have to fight. I'll find someone else. Someone will fight under the banner. And I understand, why Sean O'Malley does that. However, now that he's come on record and says that, gets this fucking highlight reel knockout, on a I don't know how big this card did, so I can't say it's a really big card. I don't know what the numbers are for this card.
I don't either. I don't know that anyone does yet.
That's gonna be part of my second statement where I walk this part back. But Sean O'Malley, if this was a big draw, like if this ends up making him a big draw, then now he's got a little bit of bargaining chips in his pocket for when he's going to actually make a bigger ranked card, another main card for a ranked opponent, or for taking a ranked opponent spot, maybe in the top 10 or top 15. So now that he said this, and now that he's got this drive behind him, and he's got some attention on him, that actually might work in his favor. So I'll walk that back. The second thing I'm going to walk back is that I was dead wrong about this card. I thought this was going to be the flop of the year. I was completely incorrect.
I wonder how many people would agree. Like, I feel like this card really felt underwhelming for a lot of reasons, and I think maybe many of those reasons weren't necessarily fair to the card.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would also say, like, if I was going to look at this card and think who's not going to get a knockout on this card, it would not have been in the main event.
Right.
I think there were some surprises here, which is what makes this card good in hindsight. On paper, I think walking into this with some trepidation makes sense. But like anyone who watched it is like, holy shit, like, who'd have thought?
Yeah. I was pleasantly. I mean, I bought it. My buddy Connor talked me into it. We couldn't find a good illegal stream that we could put on my PS4. So like, you know what? There's 4 of us. We could just buy it. And we were literally just stroking Amanda for her being the greatest of all time. So like, why would we not give her some fucking money? I've given John Jones money before. I should at least give fucking Amanda
Nunes, good person,
Nunes, a good person who fucking deserves the money. The fucking pay-per-view points. So we went forward and bought it, and you know what? It was fucking worth every goddamn dollar because it was a very, very good card. It was very good. It was real sad to watch Felicia Spencer get battered to death, but I felt like Dana White did that for Black Lives Matter in a way, because that is the
he was
Karen
like,
that we all
Brown's black enough. Get in there.
Yeah, she's black enough. Just go ahead and kill that great white hope.
That was never a hope.
Beat her to
and there is no great white hope, or we've seen it already.
Yeah. Holly Holm.
They tried that already. Didn't work out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you said, they tried it before. Holly Holm. No, Felicia Spencer was a little bit of the white hope, but it's fucked up that they're like in her fucking hype story. She's like, she got smoked by this fighter like 2 fights ago, but
she's back, baby.
but she's back. But she's back.
The division's not deep enough for her for us to not have her fought enough to forget about that time when she got killed.
Right. Yeah. She got smoked. Yeah, we all pretty much knew that was going to happen. I'm more surprised that Felicia Spencer lasted 5 rounds, but in the same way that took.
That's
5
the
years
most
off her life.
surprising outcome of the card, like that.
Yeah.
Cody Garbrandt could win by knockout in such a fashion is maybe an incredible surprise, but that Amanda Nunes didn't just completely knock Felicia Spencer's head off of her shoulders in the second round is a way bigger surprise.
I just don't understand how she was able to stay in there that whole time. And if that's a true testament to her toughness and her fighter spirit. But
to be fair, the only other person Felicia Spencer's lost to was Cyborg by decision. So maybe there's something about the way her head and neck are developed that like she's built for this shit.
Yeah. Back of her head is ridiculous for sure. That was real sad. It made me really sad to watch her get beat to death like that, and then her corner. What do you think? Do you think the corner should have stopped it? I feel like the corner should have stopped it. Like,
I think anyone who just wants like someone to live should be like, yes, the corner just needs to stop this. But I can see where a corner is like, I don't know, I don't want to give up before you've given up. And not being over by the 3rd round means you might still have something here. I think the problem with that mentality is it's not like we were seeing anything from Felicia that she could build off of and make this competitive. Like it didn't look or feel competitive at all.
Like if she was able to like take her down or do something on the floor, I'd be like, you know what, I can see it. But every time she went for any type of takedown, Amanda just upchucked her like.
And I think like the part of the other pressure is like, do you want to be the team that gave up in the title fight in the main event? Because that's a wise thing to do for like the fighter health and elongating your career. But I don't see Dana White like being very excited about that. And then I definitely see him using that, or putting that chip on his shoulder when it comes to sitting Felicia Spencer down to talk about new contracts or new opportunities.
It's like, look, you give up.
Right, like I think he's the kind of person that will say, anyone can give up. I'm not going to stop you, but the consequences of giving up or whatever my mood swings are when we talk again. So
yeah,
I could see where someone could say I'd rather just die here than like give up and like live a life where the UFC doesn't want to hire me back or whatever.
Some ESPN caster says he'll fight Dana White.
I feel like all of them do. And I feel like the best thing Tito Ortiz ever did was convince Dana White for like 6 months to actually come fight him. It never happened, but it should have.
And everyone's like, no,
he was
don't
like
do that,
starting the training camp, and then somebody, I guess, sat down with Dana White and was like, bro, maybe you shouldn't do this.
Yeah, you shouldn't do this. They're like, bro, this will cripple the fucking...
Not only will it kill you, it'll kill this company probably.
Yeah. No one will ever trust a word that comes out of your mouth ever again. So more so than usual.
Did you see his interview on First Take? A couple days ago.
Recent?
No,
I didn't. I did not. I know it's out there, but I haven't checked it out yet.
I think Dominic Foxworth asked him about money, and that turned into a debacle. It was framed around Jones and Jorge Masvidal.
Oh, I did see that. He's saying like, Jorge Masvidal's talking.
Yeah, and he's like Jones and Masvidal just got new contracts, and they could have negotiated then, and like they were happy when they walked out a year ago or whatever. So them arguing over money is like pointless. And Foxworth is, in this particular example, is the best example of someone who's asking the right questions but has absolutely no idea how this works. And I kind of wish he knew. Like he read some more, because there are plenty of people who have maybe legitimate like contract concerns that like he could speak to, but he didn't really know them. He just knew that this was an issue. And like using John Jones as like the example of a fighter who isn't getting paid enough is like maybe the worst example. Because not only is he getting paid
shot himself in the foot,
he has been given maybe more second chances than I've ever seen a professional athlete get. Like,
Hey, we should stop using second chances. We should use like tertiary chances or quadruple chances.
I don't know.
Or yeah.
Like I don't think there's ever been a head of a sports league that's been kinder to a single fuck up in their league than Dana White. Yeah. So that's like.
I remember that speech for the simple reason that he was like, he says, "I fucked his career up." Me? But yeah, no, continue.
I don't know. That just reminded me of that whole thing, and I kind of wish this. That's a weird sort of news point too, because like the whole background is John Jones. For people who don't know, John Jones wanted more money to fight Francis Ngannou. Some undisclosed amounts we
which
don't.
Rightfully so.
But.
Well, though they said Deontay Wilder figures. That was what was
Deontay Wilder money. Which, I guess for reference, Deontay Wilder money is something like $30 million, which would be $20 million more than Conor McGregor got to fight Diaz the first time.
Mayweather.
No, he got $1 million to fight
Mayweather.
Diaz, $10 million to fight Mayweather.
Right.
And Mayweather got like 100 and something million to be.
Yeah, because he just worked it out better. Like he's his own promoter.
But that would be record numbers of a purse for a single fighter in the UFC. And when he was, I can't imagine how that meeting went. We still don't know if like quote unquote Deontay Wilder money is a real figure, but I can imagine very clearly Dana White choking on his water, laughing at such a preposterous claim that you want millions of dollars to fight. That's silly.
Right now, during this tumultuous time,
I think there's always been like a weird relation, like a sort of a weird relationship with John Jones and his drawing power. I think it was very easy to call him an unabashed draw years ago. Really before right? McGregor became the draw and Ronda Rousey became the draw, because they were drawing in numbers no one had seen before. So John Jones was drawing like great numbers, but he wasn't drawing like McGregor numbers. And that kind of changed the whole landscape of what will make Dana White negotiate. Like you have to do unprecedented amounts of buys for that to happen, and that's why it worked for McGregor. And John Jones has staying power and longevity and is maybe the most bulletproof in the ring fighter that he has on roster. But has he done anything as far as making the company money that suggests that he could ask for $29 million more than Conor McGregor got as a purse, not even including buys and whatever? That's up to the.
Hey, what? Right, and even aside from that, it's just like the fucking untold benefits, which is like Dana will bend over backwards to make sure your shit keeps going, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're asking for all this additional money, and you've done. Now, if this is like Conor, even I could see how he can make that argument.
I'm not even saying that. He can't make the argument for himself.
Right.
I think when we're talking about the kind of money the company is making on you, maybe like a $30 million figure might not be that ridiculous. I don't know what the UFC stands to make on a card that's headlined by Jones Ngannou. If $30 million, if that means you're taking, 4 or 5% of that revenue as your own purse instead of a percentage point of that revenue, or a percentage point, then I'm not necessarily upset by that. Like as we say it on the show today and often, get your money.
Get your money. It's actually a podcast. Huh?
But we are talking about like literally unprecedented figures, and we're using like maybe the worst person to do that with. So it's like that beam where that was I guess an Onion article headline that says like oh no, the worst person you know has made a good point.
He does it all the time though, which is why I think John keeps having fans. Like he'll hit a whore with his car, and then he'll be like, "I have all these really good ideas though about some shit," and everyone's like,
he's still all right, fine.
Got us again.
And like, I don't know. I wish Foxworthy was a person who clearly watches MMA and like would have felt there is someone who can make that argument that would be in a better position to do so. And he's a person who is like head of the labor union in the NFL, so like he has player payment and the relationship with their employer on his mind at all times. But I just need someone like who has that background, but also like knows the history of Dana White paying his fighters that can have a conversation with him.
They could have easily got Ariel to do that, but I feel like ESPN knows
Ariel. I can't fight him.
Like, derail the train. Like it'll fucking derail the whole train if he's unable to have any like. Dana is like the fucking master of deception. Like if you're at a conference and you say a question that he like doesn't want to give an answer to, like someone asked him at a recent thing, like companies like the NFL and the NBA and the NHL have all put out statements about, their support of Black Lives Matter and, their athletes, they've been very happy to support their athletes in this tumultuous time. We're wondering if you're willing to put out a statement. Very clearly said. He's like, what? What? I can't hear what she say.
That's what it means. And Dana White's mood swings is what brought me to this squabble he had with him. And really just allowed me to walk into our favorite segment, Shit on Dana White. The Dana White Corner.
Dana White Corner? Hold on, I'm turning the red light on for this one. Yeah. Here we go.
I do wonder, like, what does bargaining power change? I imagine it has to in these times where you can't bring a crowd because you don't have gate. And gate was a part of a main eventer's sort of compensation for fighting, but B, like, if the UFC is not making that money there, then can you even ask the UFC to pay you? Not that the UFC doesn't make enough money to pay whatever you're asking, but like, if the UFC is going to make less money, they're definitely going to be less likely to pay you more money. That's just how that works. I don't know, like, when does this change? When they can start putting people in the stands again?
Well, you can start making the arguments, if they start having more fights at the Apex Center, that's their own infrastructure. Now, of course, they have to pay for, I guess, whatever leasing agreement or land shit they have there. I don't know how the Apex Center works, to be honest. I haven't really spent too much time looking into the back-end stuff of it at all, really. But I have to imagine they're saving more money having no crowds and less staff working these events in their controlled environments versus renting out the MGM or wherever places they have where they have to get certain insurances and yada yada yada, and you have to use whatever unions in the city to to do the events and pay a certain amount of dollars per hour for workers that are not in. So they have all these things. So when the numbers in that start selling out, I think that I'll give Dana White, and this is usually the shit on Dana portion. I'm gonna flip the script on him, okay? All right, I'm gonna give him a little bit of extra pat on the back for Dana, okay? For Uncle Dana. Uncle Dana, in the world of chaos, decided to keep going forward, and out of not his own pocket, but out of the company's pocket, has put forth like a pretty big campaign to allow their businesses to keep going in certain areas like Florida. They put together these crazy crews where everything's sanitized, and they have to have separate saunas and separate training equipment and separate rooms, and they rent whole hotels out for these fighters. If they had, they made some decent gains over the last few years, but you see them really use the money that they're making from these events and just stuff that they stored in just for the, for a rainy day for the business. They're using their resources to keep this going still. So they are hemorrhaging a lot of money keeping this shit going. And I feel like now that they're starting to gear more, now they have Fight Island. I think they have Fight Island for 3 months in Abu Dhabi. Was it Abu Dhabi or Dubai?
It is Dubai, I believe.
Dubai. Okay.
No, it's
Dubai.
Abu Dhabi. You're right.
Yeah, it's Abu Dhabi. Okay. That's money they've already put aside. They've got that take now. The logistics of the fights is going to be the more expensive part of it, I assume. But I think the rest of the year we're gonna go see a lot of the fights in the Apex facility because it's gonna be much easier to manage, and we're not gonna they're not gonna stand to make a lot of money to have, to rent out a huge facility, even if they're allowed to just have 100 people. If you know what I mean, like, why don't they have an event in a giant stadium for 100 people where they can just have it at the Apex and have it for 60 or 70 people? So we're gonna start to see that shift, and then we're gonna start seeing the shift of people going out to these events and start getting certain packages, to what I just saw recently. They're selling spots for media. I should have did it, but I found out too late. It was like $15, and you can ask 3 fighters questions on the UFC's stream. So like they're gonna figure out ways to make money in certain ways, but that's not gonna be a bargaining chip. Right. It's not going to be a bargaining chip for much long. So right now, I'm on the side of Dana, like, when all these motherfuckers want to start getting their money right now at this moment because they've got a little bit of leverage, and they do. And Jorge Masvidal, leverage. John Jones, leverage. Sean O'Malley, even, who's saying, I will only fight a ranked opponent for a certain amount of money. He's got leverage. In a lot of ways, Henry Cejudo's got leverage. All of these fighters have leverage. But now, the public perception of that leverage is like, well, now you guys are scumbags because you're cornering this company who's trying to keep these fights going and not make, I'm not saying they're scumbags, but there's going to be definitely people who are like, you're scumbags for trying to get money right now instead of trying to fight. There's always the people, and I hear them in football all the time. You remember the days when you could get $50K in a beer and that was all you had to do to play football? And, like, they glorify it like it's weird. But there's just as many as there's people in the NFL doing that. There's people in the UFC. You should be just bleed, guys.
You should just be like happy to work, happy to fight. You should be fighting for the love of the game. Even though the game doesn't love you, who gives a shit? The game doesn't give a fuck about you.
Right.
But, like, I think... So, now we're here. So let's talk about Fight Island.
Okay.
Which feels a lot like a...
Kumite?
Yeah. It feels like a movie. Like a movie plotline. Men from across the world have been flown to an island to fight each other in the secrecy of our own home.
I've heard some rumors about it. I've heard some rumors that they're going to have a 3-month-long tournament where people can't leave the island. And I'm like, this is getting darker by the day, huh?
And, like, I don't know. So we had the first card. The first card's going to be UFC 251.
Paige Van Zandt is on it. She's on Fight Island. She's fighting Amanda Ribas.
Usman, Kamaru Usman, headlining the main card.
Has it been decided who he's fighting yet or no? Okay, Herbert Burns.
Gilbert Burns.
Not Herbert, Gilbert Burns. Yeah.
I think Volkanovski is defending his belt first time against Holloway.
Against Holloway, right?
And I think Jose Aldo versus Peter Yan. That sounds right.
I am excited for that. Yeah. Wait, it is Jose. It is Jose. I thought they swapped out Jose.
Did they swap it out like today? Because as of yesterday,
I could have swore Dana out of
was Jose Aldo.
Huh. Maybe I misheard him, and he said that Aljamain is going to get the winner of that fight. Maybe that's what I heard.
Which I would watch.
I would definitely watch that.
But yeah, and Paige Van Zandt and Ribas. Is this what you can? Is this the power of desert money?
This is the power of desert money. You're gonna hear Arab Money being played over everything in the streets of the I guess the streets of the
streets
island,
of the island.
The streets of the island.
I really hope this goes. So another wrestling reference. The first time the WWE they're in a I don't know how long. They're in some sort of contractual agreement with Saudi Arabia where they do live events there like 3 times a year or something like that. The first time they did one, every like 15 minutes, the commentators would actively like proselytize about the greatness of whatever city they were in, like Riyadh or something. And it was hilarious. They're like, and just for a reminder, we're broadcasting from this fucking stadium in like the beautiful city of Riyadh, and it's like this flyover, the drone flyovers. So look at the palm trees, look at the desert, it's so beautiful, the starry night. Don't look at the women that we're like putting in sacks, and they're not allowed to drive.
They're getting dragged behind motorcycles.
Don't remark those buses that are filled to the brim with gay people that were hiding in hotels.
Oh Jesus, hiding.
Hiding. Yeah. Oh, that sound you hear?
Yeah.
That's journalists crying.
We didn't put them there. It was an accident. It was a chainsaw accident.
I just really hope that that's what happened to. Like in between every fight, it's just fucking Daniel Cormier being like, "Hey, have you had some of that falafel? It's delicious over at this particular restaurant in Riyadh."
I love the dad frame that we've given Daniel Cormier. Like, you hear this falafel stuff?
You hear this falafel? It's great. And I'll never consider myself a halal guy, but maybe I'll just try it.
Joe Rogan, we're gonna get some gyros after this, okay? Get some gyros.
Oh, what? This is the perfect opportunity to get Shannon Sharp into MMA. Fly him to fucking Abu Dhabi.
God, bro.
Give him a black and mild, and some. I don't think maybe he can't drink Hennessy like.
And some Hennessy
in public.
Nah, he definitely was like flexing with Michael Irvin on Instagram for no reason out of nowhere. Like, this is what we drank out here, which is like a bottle of Hennessy and a cigar.
I think
just,
he
like,
did
dancing.
it to Skip once on the show, and then like that's just become what he's done now. That's just a thing he does now.
I fucking love Shannon Sharp with all my heart. God damn it! Oh my god, make that guy president of the company.
Can you imagine?
ESPN. Him, Deion Sanders,
just
and Michael Irvin.
the three presidents of ESPN.
Yes, the three presidents of ESPN. It's not like they got shit else. Like, they've been letting all these fucking white interns do it, and SportsCenter is so terrible.
Oh yeah, they like
Instagram.
have been neutering ESPN for the past like 3 years.
Oh my god, bro, it's so bad. Like, look at this guy do a cool backflip into a pool. Shut up.
And remember, folks, all lives matter.
All lives matter. Look at this janitor. He's coming. Nothing to do with sports. Look at this janitor. He's come home and it's custodial day, and he's crying. And it's like, shut the
this
fuck
police
up.
officer's gonna give him an award. Best custodian.
Best custodians. That did make me tear up a little bit. Though. It was a little sad. I liked it. Not sad, but it was like happy.
Real
like,
emotional.
It was. That's what they wanted. But I'm like, that's not what I'm here for ESPN for, man. I want to see Zion Williamson dunk on some poor white dude.
As many times as possible. As many times you let him.
Yes. Rose is coming back on the 251 as well too against Jessica Andrade.
And that's not like that's not like build here.
Second to no, well there was build, but she pulled out of the fight because someone in her family, a bunch of people in her family died from COVID.
Oh yeah, right. I heard that.
So she pulled out of Rose is like super like superstitious. Like, if she feels like some sort of weird juju, I've seen her do interviews and stuff, like, she'll fucking pull out of shit. Or she just, like, won't do something. When she was fighting Joanna, Joanna just says some buck wild fucking Polish shit to you that no one understands. Like, she'll speak in, like, Polish proverbs that no one understands. And she's like, she started freaking me out, so, like, I started getting in my own head all night before the fight, what did she mean? And she's trying to figure it out. Like, she likes people getting in her head a little bit, and I think that was cool that she shared that with everybody. But regardless of the fact, a bunch of her family members died, and I could imagine that seriously affecting her mental state and not allowing her to move forward. So
fair,
especially because we didn't know what was.
And
even
if you're
next.
not superstitious, I can see that could be a fucking traumatic experience for you.
Right. Even Khabib's father was in the ICU, and everyone was like, "Oops, our bad. We're really mean to you for no reason."
Sorry, we were making fun of you for being a white Muslim.
Don't be Muslim.
Drink proper 12.
That's what it seems like. Drink proper 12. I'm more Muslim than you. I can't wait. Where it's like this Conor goes to Mecca, and he's just like, and he's.
If he's retiring, like he says, he's got plenty of time to do other completely ridiculous. He can be way more racist now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Conor retired for the 8th time or whatever in the last 60 days. What's your take on that?
I'm curious to see if it's real. Like, this feels like a bargaining chip, and I don't really know what he needs to bargain for. Like, if anyone can do whatever the fuck they wanted, it'd be Conor McGregor.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he makes smarter, like, controversial decisions. You know what I mean? Because like when he says I retired, no one believes him, but now he doesn't prescribe to like whatever agenda that the UFC has now. Like the UFC can no longer like try to incorporate him into it. And then I'm sure they had a talk with him like, hey, this is what we want to do, you know, going forward with the lightweights, and this is what we're probably going to do with Khabib, and this is probably what we're going to do with XYZ. And Conor maybe didn't fit into that mold the way he wanted to, maybe because he really wanted Justin, and it looks like Justin's going to get Khabib. That's what it seems like, because he beat Tony Ferguson, so like he's probably going to get Khabib. And Conor's like, well, I don't want to fucking fight Tony, so I'll fight Justin, who's gonna stand in there with me, and he lost that opportunity. And like, there's plenty of people in lightweight for him to fight. And I remember him talking all this crazy shit not too long ago, like, I'll fight fucking Nate tomorrow, like you know what I mean? Like, not even 6 months ago.
I can't feel like anything he says isn't without some sort of ulterior motive. And maybe that's part. And maybe part of that is maybe that's my fault. Maybe I can't just take this at his word. I know Conor McGregor's words incredibly trustworthy and full of integrity. But for some reason, when he tells me a person who won the way he did against Cowboy Cerrone, spoke the way he spoke afterwards, like he was like ready to refocus and come back, who can realistically beat everybody in the lightweight division. Like, it's impossible. You can't just count him out of any of those fights, and could negotiate probably whatever he wanted, maybe with the exception of Deontay Wilder money, though I'm sure he would want Tyson Fury money, because it's whiter. But I don't know why. Like, I have to then assume if there's no value, or maybe he's playing 4D chess and I can't see this dimension he's working in, but there's no value of him holding out with that unless he's really ready to like not do this anymore.
With the fucking the big brain tactics, McGregor, the man who brought you throw Jolly at a car and punch an old man in the face. We bring to you 4D chess moves that only business masterminds like him and Jeff Bezos can see behind the scenes.
Maybe like, if I was Conor McGregor, like, well, I don't really need to fight anymore. Like, my brand is bigger than fighting now.
Yeah.
And I've won all these belts. I didn't defend any of them. Didn't have to.
And despite how shitty it is, Proper 12 has actually done pretty well. They've achieved the amount of contracts that they want.
Right. So they're going to be in your local bar, so that all the people who signed up to watch you fight Nate Diaz are going to be drinking this. It'll probably get he can put his face on fucking anything now, I feel like. And make just about as much money as he would have made fighting. And I think that's the rub. Like, he no longer needs to do this because the UFC is not going to pay him better than he would if he just did a little work outside of this. He's making the same decision Ronda Rousey made years ago. Probably the same decision John Jones is trying to make. I think the difference is
he could do Tate Fletcher. He could do Tate Fletcher fucking henchman movies and make so much money.
I think probably, yeah. Like there was a whole there was a whole mood if you were a MMA fighter for in between 2008 and 2015. You can just be in random movies. Like, I feel like what's his name? George St. Pierre's been in 4 movies. I feel like, and only one of them was one that mattered, and he was in it for 5 minutes. Yeah. You can do whatever you want at this point.
I'm not impressed with your performance. I would have fit that line in it somehow.
I think, no, I was going to say, I thought he said that in Winter Soldier, but I don't think he said anything in Winter Soldier. I think he was just French guy, I think.
That's what he said?
No, I think you looked at him, he's like, I think he's French. And then and Chris Evans beats the shit out of him.
Next scene. I think he's French.
But, there's no reason, he couldn't star in a Guy Ritchie movie or some shit right now.
Yeah.
Or whatever. You can do it. He's if he's not in Fast and Furious 9, I don't understand what's going on anymore.
Yeah, why even have Fast and Furious? He's the fucking catalyst of Fast and Furious, okay? That should be just him. Honestly, should just star him in the movie.
It's a spin-off, and they a new character. It's Conor McGregor. Don't even give him a new name. Yeah. It's just Conor McGregor.
He just uppercuts the cars like Resident Evil 5, when the fucking Chris Redfield breaks the rock with his hands. Him
and fucking Vin Diesel can just eat tires or something. I don't fucking know what happens in those movies, but
eat tires.
There's no reason he couldn't be in them. And I feel like maybe he had his fight. I think he maybe reads the tea leaves. He's having the same conversations, or the same conflict, maybe not conversation, but the same conflict John Jones is having openly with Dana White.
Yeah.
He kind of just knows that like he's not going to get $30 million to fight. So like, can I get $30 million doing fucking anything else? Can I get $1 million doing fucking anything else?
Yeah. Can I hold this fucking gallon of whey protein?
Yeah,
and just
like,
smile.
Whatever. Like put my name on your gym or some shit. Like whatever.
Fuck. Like 21 Savage made $1 million off of Adidas. Like I can't make $1 million off of some Adidas shit.
I feel like that's the wave every fighter has to go on, and so that's why I have to believe Conor McGregor's telling the truth. Like this shit ain't worth it anymore. He can wake up in his Irish castle and just do whatever the fuck he wants, and like.
And it's just not because I don't believe what he's saying. I just feel like he'll always have.
Do I think he'll come back? Yes, but I think he means what he's saying right now.
Yeah, and I'm in the same way. I believe the same thing. Like I believe he says he's retired right now in the way that he's literally not fighting anybody until he gets the payday that he wants and for the matchup that he wants, for the belt that he wants.
Maybe, but like, I don't even know. Like, I think the matchup he wants is the payday. I don't think he gives a fuck of the weight class or the belt. I mean, yes, the belt. Like, why fight for anything less, especially when you're you? But
I think he should go to one championship and take steroids and fight Vitor Belfort
like,
at 205.
Here's the thing. Like, I wonder if someone like maybe not Scott Coker, because he doesn't have the money either. But maybe if he did go to like Rise It or something, and they're like, "Yo, we have $40 million that we just don't know what to do with. Would you like to take him?
Yeah.
Take this bag of money?"
They have said on multiple occasions that they would never take Conor McGregor in their thing, but I wonder how.
Yeah, I wonder how real that is.
Yeah, I don't know how real that is when the option is presented.
Yeah, it's easy to say when it's very clearly not going to happen. But
yeah.
It's like me saying I'm never going to the White House to meet Donald Trump. No one's calling me to ask me to go to the White House, so it's fine.
Yeah, I 100% would definitely go, so I could say some wild shit.
I would be like
on my Instagram live. I'd be saying some wild shit to Donald Trump.
To live like Taco and Tyler when they met Donald Trump.
That's right. Shouts out to Taco and Tyler.
Yeah, I think it's probably telling the truth. Will he be fighting in 2 years? Also, yeah, probably. But like, 100%. I feel like he's definitely looking for other shit to do.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely about to make his own booty bands or some shit with McGregor fast on.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll buy him.
It's
Thick Boy Summer.
He's doing what Curtis Blades should be doing.
Everyone's hitting the beach with their quarantine bods, and the only way to get it into shape is with these McGregor booty bands. And I will be. He's
gonna do the booty bands like workout DVDs too.
Right.
It's just gonna be Conor in like briefs with his face on them.
Which is essentially already his fucking
which was his move anyway. Except he was probably wearing fur as well.
Sometimes wearing fur, sometimes wearing like a fucking a leotard, like a Under Armour leotard with some
punching that weird Bass Rutten like pad holdy device thing with like a full Adidas tracksuit on with like a gold chain.
I thought about getting it. I'm like, you know what? I'll just get a punching bag because it's cheaper and it's more. I feel like it's more effective because you can't move if you. Well, use I think
the idea is like there's targets to hit that are like that you have to like expand your range of motion to hit from a standing position. I can see that it could have value, but I don't see how it is more valuable than just having a fucking heavy bag that costs like a fraction of the price, and you can just move around it. Like there's nothing you can't do, or nothing you can do on that fucking weird contraption you can't also do on a heavy bag.
Yeah, if you're fighting like the riot police, that shit is great for
right. If you're fighting multiple enemies like Jackie Chan,
yeah. They do the fucking hand thing.
I mean, even then, the fucking Wushu Kung Fu doll wooden block thing has been a thing that people have used for literally thousands of years. So,
and you can move around it.
So maybe it's not the thing.
Sorry, Boss Rutten. We didn't mean to shit on your.
Yeah, but please don't kill me, because Boss Rutten might. You might hear this and come find us.
Yeah, no, Boss Rutten is with the shits, bro. He's funny as shit. And people remember, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're funny as shit," but I feel like they forget a little bit that he'll strike your eyes out of your head. Yeah, that's 251, 250. We covered A lot of events. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in particular. I feel like there's some other shit out there. How do you feel about Gilbert Burns moving up to fight Usman in this fashion? I feel like he's 100% not ready.
Like this feels like a sacrifice. This doesn't feel like an even matchup. And that's and that's a shitty thing to say about Gilbert Burns, who is a completely legitimate really good fighter who's been on a streak. He's beaten some very good people. Beat Gunnar Nelson, beat Damian Maia, beat Tyron Woodley recently. Had a really good fight. I think the fight I remember the most of his is, well, I guess the Maia fight was actually really good too. But I remember his loss to Dan Hooker in the first round where he was just getting clobbered. But he came back from that like pretty strong, I would say. But this doesn't feel like a winnable fight for him.
I just remember looking at how much bigger Tyron Woodley looked in comparison to him, like when they were in there. Mm-hmm. And then I remembered how much bigger Usman looked in comparison to Woodley when they were in there. And I just don't see how that doesn't end.
And Woodley is like, and Woodley is on a downswing. And Usman is like surging right now. Like, he is getting better and better every time you see him.
Bro, he broke his nemesis's jaw. He broke the fucking jaw of MAGA. He broke the MAGA jaw.
This is like literally when fucking T'Challa got his groove back. He's like in groove back mode.
Don't say T'Challa got his groove back.
Like, this is the most important. Well, I mean, the most important fight ever was his last fight. But like, do you want to be the next dude? Like, that has to fight super fucking Karamu Usman, who doesn't have superpowers now. Like, you're just like the next guy who gets to see super Karamu just get the shit beat out of him. Like, maybe Gilbert, maybe I should suggest, not a great suggestion, but hear me out. Maybe you should go to the White House and meet the president. Maybe you guys should have some conversations. Maybe, call up Candace. She's not doing anything. You, Candace, Colby, Donald, Don Jr., have a conversation.
Right. Maybe
in this cabal, get a skill set or some power, some energy, and bring that with you. I'm not saying, like, inundate yourself, but sometimes these evil powers can corrupt you. This is a risk you're taking.
Bro, I don't even have him beating Colby.
Probably not.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't have him beating Colby. Like, I feel like Colby would wash him. And it's just like, I'm not saying Burns doesn't. I feel like Burns fought like a top 5 guy, but we're throwing him to the wolf of wolves. I mean, holy shit, dude! Kamaru Usman, like, he's. It would be the
biggest upset I've
been wrong again.
I can think of that I can remember if Gilbert Burns wins this fight. Anyway, like, I'm not even saying knockout would be a huge upset, but if this isn't at least a decision, a one-sided decision, I'll be incredibly surprised.
Right. I'm not going to sit here and say that Usman will put him away. Maybe it does get dragged out for 5 rounds, but I'm having Usman win most of those rounds.
And like, I think that this is an interesting fight though, because Usman and Burns kind of have the same striking base.
Well, that's why I thought it would be interesting to see him fight. Right, exactly.
And to my knowledge, I don't know where Burns gets his grappling. But I want to say I think they both also wrestle with what's his name? Melanson?
I think Burns is like a fucking world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner, if I'm not mistaken. I'm fairly I remember Joe stroking him like he's like one of the fucking best BJJ.
I know he did a lot of I know he's a black belt. I think Barrios gave him his black belt, which is a good, if you're not getting Gracie, Rafael Barrios is also a very good black belt. Not that every Gracie's the best, but I think Gracie's style has become like the English of jiu-jitsu. But yeah, he was a very active jiu-jitsu like competitor. He's been
Yeah, 3-time world champion and World
He's
Cup.
been I think he had
medalist.
like a crazy run in IBJJF Nogi like a couple not a couple, more like 5 or 6 years ago, I think. So yeah, Gilbert Burns with the shifts when it comes to grappling, and I think they train with the same people. So like this is an interesting, and I know Burns is an ex Brazilian guy, and I'm pretty sure Usman is too. So I don't even know how they're training for this. Like, are they just training together and be like, "I'll see you later," I guess, or?
It's a good. Well, yeah, you're right because there's already the COVID related issues, like where gyms are technically still not open, and now they need individual reserve space from one guy that they both train under. So that's a phase I didn't even really think about. Like, what's training?
So this feels like training partners who accidentally got a title shot against each other. But yeah, they have the same base of skills, or maybe not. It's not even true. They kind of have honed their skills for the past couple of years at the same place. Burns is maybe way more dangerous grappling wise, but I just don't think that's going to matter.
Here are his achievements. Main achievements: first place IBJJF World Championship 2011. So that was just the regular gi. First place IBJJF World Championship Nogi 2010. First place UAE JJF Abu Dhabi World Pro, which I understand to be a very big one. First place CBJJ Brazilian Nationals, and obviously that's it's fucking Brazil. So third place IBJJF European Open 2009 for colored belts for brown. Second place IBJF World Champion 2000-2006. Second place CBJJ Brazilian National 2007. So it looks like he's a world class grappler, like when it comes to jiu-jitsu at least. So that's going to be interesting to see in the way that if he fights Usman's definitely going to take him down if they're not standing and banging, which Usman can do too. But let's say Usman scores a knockdown and gets on top, uses his wrestling, we're going to see some some world-class talent off Burns' back. So there are places for him to win, but it's just not probable. I would say 70-30 in favor of Usman, in my opinion.
Like, I guess I'm more curious, like, what conversations they're having, like, with their training. Like, it's rare you see this. Like, you see people train together fight a lot, but you rarely see them fight for a belt a lot. I think the last time I remember it happening, it probably happened before that, but last time I remember it happening was Jones and Rashad Evans. And that ended poorly for their relationship and like that whole gym.
Yeah.
Not that I think they're as immature as both of those two, but
yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, their relationship under that roof might be a little bit different than most.
So yeah, I don't have much to say about the fight, except that I think it's going one way. But I'm really super curious about what that dynamic looks for the team afterwards.
Yeah, definitely be strange. Even in the case where like you see rivals like join their gyms later on, that doesn't seem to work out very well. Even if they don't fight, I remember them giving some special treatment to not even a rival, Mike Perry at a whatchamacallit at no, they were gonna fight. Mike Perry went to Jackson Winklejohn for Donald Cerrone, and they were giving him a little bit more attention than Cerrone, I guess, said what felt like, and that's where that division in their fighting started. And arguably, that's when Cerrone lost the most. It's like between now and then is him losing, I guess, that spot. But yeah, that historically hasn't really worked out for a lot of people. So I do agree there. There was a point I was gonna fucking make about something different, but I completely forgot what it was. Oh, how do you feel about Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal trading some shit?
I mean, if they're not gonna fight again, then who gives a shit?
They should do UFC Jamaica like Aldo has.
They should really.
And then
number one, they should. But,
yeah.
If only then to like actually, bring some real income to that country. It's just going to be the same kind of income, white people coming in for tourist attractions or whatever. But tourism is a huge import for Jamaica, and they deserve it. But so stupid fucking belt aside, I do kind of want to see them fight as many times as possible.
Yeah.
I don't think that first fight was the best fight they could have.
Right.
And I know both of them are down for whatever. So.
And we know the Jamaican Commission's not stopping fights early, huh? They're not stopping fights early, so let's... yeah.
Like, they'd probably have to make one. And
yeah,
I can't imagine they're going to...
Headed by Damian Marley.
They don't come from a long
just all the
fighting
Marleys.
tradition, like a combat sports tradition necessarily. So they're just going to do whatever the fuck they can, I guess.
Fucking commission starred by Usain Bolt, Damian Marley.
Oh, Usain Bolt's going to be there, and they're going to
stars.
put him on like a halda and have people like walking him in.
They're gonna have him. They're gonna be like, what's the belt they're gonna make for this? I don't know. What's the shit called? I can't think of it. Oh, Rastafarian type shit. Like they'll bring in the Rastafarian beanie for whoever wins.
It's gonna be. I don't know if you saw it. I didn't watch it live, but I saw clips from that versus battle on Instagram from Beanie Man and Brownie Killer. It's gonna be that. It's gonna be lots of air horns. Very sweaty, very dark men.
Every
the police are gonna be there.
Every ring girl comes out there and gets daggered.
It's just somebody
some
jumping off,
like,
the cage.
Off the cage. Just daggers the shit out of them. Yo, UFC Jamaica's gonna be lit.
This is what I mean.
Fuck
like,
Fight
listen,
Island, bro.
We're joking, but it's gonna be lit.
It's gonna be so crazy. What's UFC Jamaica's card's gonna be? Okay, so Aldo fights like Peter Yan. Right, for the championship, for the belt. Because I might have Jan beating. I mean, not might. I have Jan beating Jose Aldo. If they do fight, I'm pretty. You said they're gonna fight, and that's the next card, so they're probably gonna fight.
They're almost definitely going to bring what's
Masvidal and Nate. Masvidal and Nate.
They're gonna God.
Sugar Sean.
Maybe.
And Cody. Sugar Sean and Cody.
Since the UFC is like only a little progressive but mostly racist, they're gonna bring Israel Adesanya, and Izzy's gonna be like, "I'm actually from New Zealand," and they're like, "Shut the fuck up."
We'll fight Holocaust. Wiz Khalifa's gonna fight Logan Paul. kill the Great White Hope.
Well, Logan Paul's gonna come in with dreads too. It's gonna be a mess.
Yeah. He's gonna put out an apology video out for like going to some cemetery in Jamaica or something that he shouldn't have and defacing it.
What they really need to do is, after UFC Jamaica is a fucking rousing success, like it would be. Paige Van Zandt will be on the card too, just because.
With the white girl cornrows.
And we all know why.
That she got done in Jamaica. Yeah.
But
yeah. Well, she's fighting today. No, not today. In the next 251 on Fight Island. So.
Yeah, that's what she's going to Abu Dhabi because if there's one thing Arab oil money barons love more than money and oppressing women is white women.
Tiny white girls with fake tits. Yeah.
So this all tracks.
What if they made them fight in hijabs?
They might. So it's a joke, but they might. It's actually 100% a thing that can happen. Head to toe, bodysuits and hijabs is probably going to happen.
We're gonna see fucking chokes that you'd only see
in
gi jiu-jitsu.
So after UFC Jamaica is a rousing success, then you go to UFC Haiti, where there's a tenth of the people and a tenth of the value, but there's a great chance that a voodoo priestess fights and a ceremony happens in the middle of a fight, and then
they cut a
right, and then that's we might as well.
This is racist. Fight? If we were white, this would have been red flagged so hard.
But that's the benefit.
We're allowed. That's
our privilege, Sean.
That's the benefit of blackness. UFC Jamaica would be so fucking dope, man. I would love UFC Jamaica. There's the announcer. We're gonna get rid of Michael Buffer. It's just gonna be the dude that says "Cool Running."
It's gonna be Elephant Man.
It's gonna be Elephant Man.
And Sean Paul's gonna be the field correspondent.
No, the ref. He's gonna be the ref.
Paul's gonna be the ref.
He's gonna be the ref.
See, this is a great idea.
This is a great idea, bro. This is fucking. I'm all in on UFC Jamaica. What other places would I love to have UFC? They should have a UFC South Africa.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Because there's plenty of whites and stuff. Oh, I know why not recently.
Because black people have been like killing white people and taking their farming, like their land over there. Yeah. Which, I mean, that's what happens after apartheid.
Hey, man.
It is what it is.
It happens.
But I'm surprised Elon Musk hasn't just like made that happen yet.
UFC Tesla?
Yeah, like some sort of Tesla sponsored UFC event in South Africa.
Yeah. Right. Me and Joe Rogan are doing the commentary.
I feel like that seems like
Joe,
a big
you
enough
talk
market
about
for
AI?
something like that to happen, though.
What? UFC Tesla?
I mean, yes, but like like Johannesburg or something, fucking.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I mean, like, there's already all these crazy fucking beautiful tourist spots to begin with. The country would totally be on board with something like that. The freedom of the marijuana smoke of the country and their history of sports, like, you know, having some of the best sprinters in the world. Like, there's like some serious crossover culture between Jamaica and America. Like, Jamaican music since I could remember, has always like fucking played the radio. Like, we were talking about like Hot 97. I don't know what you guys listen to down here, but Hot 97 and Funkmaster Flex. As soon as it was summertime, all the Jamaican Dagger songs were being blasted, and no one knew what the fuck they were saying. But
it's going to be visible for everyone.
Sean Paul, the Mexican Jamaican man, out here making dagger music.
Making dagger in the basement music.
Fuck that. Dagger in the basement.
Or outside in the parking lot, whatever. Is there a tree branch here? We can figure it out.
Yeah. But that would be.
Dear Dana White, I'm gonna write a letter. Dear Dana White, I'll take back everything I've said about you if you make UFC Jamaica a thing.
We're gonna make a petition to have UFC Jamaica. We're with you, Aldo. We're with you. We're fucking.
It is
with
very
the
important
shits.
to me that UFC Jamaica happens before I die.
If UFC Jamaica happens, I'm gonna try to see if I can actually go to it. I'm gonna legit. That's gonna be the one that.
We forgot the most important member of the card, Uriah Hall.
Uriah Hall. Oh yeah, that's right. I thought you meant on 250. I'm like, Uriah Hall didn't fight in 250. Yeah, Uriah Hall's gonna make it. All right, so Paige has got to go.
Paige. No, Paige has to stay. No, that's not true.
All right, she'll be.
Since we're not in Abu Dhabi, so she doesn't have to stay. Angie Hill has to come. Angie Hill's coming to UFC Jamaica.
Derek Brunson. Uriah Hall will fight Derek Brunson. 185. Or fuck it.
Whatever.
Just let him batter somebody. Just let him just beat someone up.
A random Jamaican fighter.
Yeah. A random Jamaican fighter, like Mike Perry. UFC Jamaica, bro. I'm into that. They've had UFC in China already.
They've had one in Russia, I think.
Have they had a UFC in Russia? I know they were talking.
I don't know if it ever happened. No, they haven't yet because they wanted to make a big thing out of like a Habib main event.
Yeah.
And
they
what's his name was threatening to wanted the rematch to happen in Russia, which I was like, that seems like a mistake. But
yeah, seems like you're not going to get the better.
Like either you lose in Russia or you win in Russia, and that both seem like bad ideas for you.
And Russia wins you in Russia, so that's how it goes. Mother Russia. Yeah, so they haven't had... Historically, have they had a Russian event?
I don't think so. I don't think they could for a while because M1 Global was like running the fight game in Russia, and they're also possibly like corrupt. I think they wanted to years ago because they wanted to get what's his name. He was undefeated forever until like the last 5 years.
Tony?
Russian. He has a brother who's I think a pedophile or something.
Oh Jesus! Magomed Shapirov?
No, but
I'm just naming Russian fighters that I know.
There's like only one Russian fighter anyone knows, and I can't fucking remember him. I can't remember his name right now, which is
Artem Lobov to go?
Not Artem Lobov. He's not Russian. He's Irish by proxy. He's accidentally Irish.
Yeah.
He
pedophile brother. I feel like that should narrow it down, but it hasn't.
He has a partnership with M1 Global. He basically ran the table from 2000 to like 2000. Yeah, Fedor Emelianenko.
Yeah, his brother is a
They
pedophile,
tried to make that fight happen like 5 or 6 years ago, I thought, the UFC, but M1 wanted like co-promotional rights and like wanted like way more of the revenue for it to happen, for Fedor to even be on the card, and wanted to pay Fedor like crazy amount of money, and they're like, we're not doing that.
Right. I'm pretty sure M1 Global is run by like the Russian.
I think the general consensus is like that the corrupt Russian oligarchy that runs that country also is very closely tied to M1 Global. So it's probably not as simple as the mafia. It's probably worse.
All right, so UFC Russia, let's get that figured
UFC
out.
Russia, let's go.
UFC Saudi Arabia?
I mean, Abu Dhabi might be a test drive.
Yeah. Yeah, like how close can we get before we start having suicide
and like that shit, like they'll pay for it.
They will, but like you have to live in the stadium. Like you wouldn't be able to go out of the stadium.
Well, you can.
They don't.
You have to you'll have to get bussed around everywhere. Like you have to live in basically a hotel building and then to the stadium.
Yeah. Because they don't. I remember like women going to do like either journalist.
Oh, the women
or
aren't going
movies.
anywhere.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like if you're a woman, like
women are sitting in their hotel room or on the bus, out of sight.
Yeah, they're not allowed to go outside of the bus. I remember that. They were like, we can't even film it. Like even to put the hijab on, they're like, stay inside the bus or you're gonna go missing.
The real problem is not that that's not a real problem. That's like the realest problem. The second real problem is that they will probably want to pay, or what they will pay a lot of money to try to have a very heavy influence of what happens, or not maybe not trying to rig a fight, but they want to see particular fighters fight. So they might pay Dana White $100 million to show up and do events for 3 or 4 years or whatever there regularly. But they'll also want to see fighters that like the Crown Prince remembers and his family remembers. Like he'll want to see Tito Ortiz. He'll want to see Chuck Liddell. He'll try to get Matt Hughes or whatever the fuck out there. And that will be the onus for it happening. I don't know that that's going to work. And I don't know if Dana White wants to be tied to such a requirement. Right. But I mean, if anyone has the money to make everybody ridiculously rich for that, it would be Saudi Arabia. For sure.
Shouts out to the Arab money. Getting all that money. Senegal. Oh, UFC Senegal.
UFC Senegal. Shout out
UFC
to MIA.
Senegal. Headed by Akon. MIA, Akon. Who's single-handedly fixing Africa.
Yeah, who actually might be like T'Challa.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought?
What about certain states? I feel like they should have the UFC in certain states that like haven't.
Is there
or cities at least, like Detroit. They should have a UFC Detroit for sure, or UFC Camden.
Maybe not Camden. Maybe yes, Camden.
They did Newark already. That Prudential Center is like smack dab in the middle of a hood too. So
that's just the way Newark's built, though. I think.
Yeah.
Like everything is in the hood in Newark. It's like Philly. Like Philly's just like all the destinations in Philly are surrounded by the hood.
Bro, when they had the Trump's son for to the Prudential Center for the most recent one they had there with Covington versus who did Colby Covington fight? Robbie Lawler. When Colby Covington fought Robbie Lawler, they shut down like 10 square blocks. Like, no chances. No chances at all.
Which fair.
Don't even be black in the area.
Don't they get Secret Service details too?
They do.
So you gotta do what you gotta do.
Like not. That's why it's gonna be in the middle of the day in Newark. It was like 2 o'clock. It was like 2 o'clock. That's when the main card
We
started.
don't want no man on fire shit for Johnny Jr.
Right, exactly. Yes, UFC Detroit would be dope. UFC Camden. UFC, what are some dangerous places we can take them?
San Francisco.
Dangerous, just cool. San Francisco. UFC Aspen, like a height of winter. That would be cool.
They already have. They do stuff at the Staples Center already, right? What's
I don't know if they did in the Staples Center.
I thought they did. Maybe not. If you were gonna do an event in LA, that would be where I think you would do it.
I think they've been talking about doing it at the Rams' place. That's what McGregor was talking about. He wanted to fight where the Rams are playing.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Which would be dope.
They've done it in Miami already, right?
I don't know if they've done it in Miami. I know they've done a number of them in Tampa.
Which sounds like where you would go. That's where like old rich dudes like hang out.
That's where all the like that fucking dude that says "Ticket from New Jersey. That guy's in Tampa.
I don't know. UFC Miami though.
UC Miami would be full of booty butt cheeks.
It'd be a lot of when out of town like basketball teams go to Miami and their star shooter shoots 20 points less. You wonder why? I know why. Because strip clubs are open until 7 in the morning there. That's why.
Yeah,
and you were there till 7:30.
Cocaine. Yeah, all the girls trying to get their bag.
And him giving them the bag.
Yeah. You're like, I know why you're off 20. Also, unrelated but sports related, go check out Uncut Gems. That movie's fucking amazing. That movie is so good. It's on Netflix. It's so good. Adam Sandler captured Bergen County Jews so well. He just captured them so fucking well, dude. It's so crazy. But it's also just a really good, funny idea, and Kevin Garnett's in it too, and he just like does Kevin Garnett shit. It's great.
He has like a significant role, right? He's not just a walk-on. He's like in that movie.
No. He just like. They just have him in, and it's just like... It almost feels like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode with him. When he's in it, he like... You know how...
like JB Smoove?
JB Smoove? Yeah, you know JB Smoove's in it? He's not funny like that, but he comes in, and he's got significant dialogue, and it's not, like, disparaging, and it's not, like mean or ruthless or anything, but he is a significant part of the movie without ruining it too much of it. Like, he definitely... He's a main driver in the movie, and... It's like enough where you could be like, you know what, Kevin Garnett didn't have to do too much acting. He was just doing like what I would imagine Kevin Garnett to do. Or Kevin Garnett's a good actor. One or the other. It could be one or the other. But
The Weeknd also in that movie.
The Weeknd isn't in that movie, and it's very funny. It's very fucking funny when The Weeknd's in the movie. So definitely check it out.
I've heard nothing but good, like universally good things about that movie.
Yeah, it's great. It's
even
good.
People who are like, I can't watch the movie ever again, or like I was enthralled when I was watching it. It's just like a lot.
It's a really good original story. It makes me want to own like a jewelry store now.
I just want to be a pawn shop owner.
I want to be a pawn shop owner, bro. Yeah, go check that movie out. That movie's fucking good. And there's always like some basketball angle because it's Adam Sandler, and Jews love basketball for some reason.
True, not racist.
He even says it. He even says it in the movie. He's like the first point scored in basketball is by a Jew when he like names it in the Knicks. I love it. But yeah, that's just about all this. We covered Dana White. We covered Black Lives Matter. We covered Jews in basketball. We covered UFC Jamaica. This is a pretty successful show.
I agree. We did it.
We did it. I'm going to try to get another interview soon with someone I actually went to high school with, who's actually a professional boxer for Top Rank, and he just is just knocking people dead. So I don't know if we're going to get it right away, but I'll tell you who he is anyway. You should just check it out if you ever listen to the show and you want to see some prospects coming up. I wouldn't even say he's a prospect now. He's pretty well-oiled machine. His name is Julian Rodriguez, and he goes by Hammer Hands, and he's from North Jersey. He practices up in North Jersey, or trains rather in North Jersey. He's been boxing since I could remember. I'm not like super close with him, but I always remember him being like a stand-up guy. And he obviously like his goal was to become a professional boxer, so I didn't really see much of him anyway. But it's been many years later, and I want to try to reach out to him and see what's going on. And I think he's got a fight coming up. One of his fights got canceled because of COVID for Top Rank.
Yeah, but Top Rank
so
just
I do plan on watching him fight.
Just came back, so.
Yeah. So he's projected, I think, to be fighting in the fall. I don't know the exact day yet. But he came off of a surgery. He took, I think, 2 years off. Came back and just KO'd some dudes. So that's Team Hammerhands. Julian Rodriguez, Hammerhands. The fucking boy. I think he's 19-0 right now as a boxer. I think the only losses he's ever suffered were really, really early in his career when he was an amateur. But he's been on a hot streak, and he's just been knocking dudes dead. So definitely check him out. I would love to get referee Mike Beltran in. He said he'd do it. I don't know. He's a busy guy, especially with the UFC, and he's got his own brand and all that shit to worry about too. So if we don't get it, no big deal. But if we do, I'll continue sending him messages because he does answer. That's it. Follow at Jarrett John, JARRETTJAWN.
You did it.
I did it right. All R's are T's. I got it. Follow me on High Functioning Stupid on Instagram, and follow our Catchweight update pages on YouTube and also Instagram. I gotta make a fight comp video because the peeps love the fight comps. They love the videos. They love the ratchet music I find on the internet. It's my favorite part.
It's the real art.
It's the real art. I think I'm gonna make more of like a Black Lives Matter one now, where it's just like cops getting duffed upon, like,
getting smoked.
A 20-minute video. Yeah, it's getting smoked up. But that's it. Do you have anything to plug? Oh, I plugged your recent IGN writing. You want to talk about your IG writing going on? Your IGN?
Yeah, that's all I've done recently. I reviewed the multiplayer phase side of Disintegration, a game not out until the 16th. It is fine. I don't know that you need to stop playing Valorant or Warzone or Apex Legends or Fortnite or literally anything else to play it. But it is definitely an interesting concept that I wish was better. But I think the most important part of this was that I got to write for the biggest site on the internet again. I've been there before. It's been years, but I feel like we might have guilt tripped enough people for me to get back on there. So I'm excited about it.
Fuck yeah! And then, do you have any pro video gamer analysis for the PS5?
If you watched it, there's a lot to see. There's just general like advice when you see reveals and shows and all that kind of presentationally PR stuff that you get from events like this that you would have gotten from E3 if it actually started today like it was supposed to. If you haven't seen gameplay in any of those trailers, you're not seeing that game probably for 3 years. So any game you saw during this thing that looks like gameplay happened, if you got a video that didn't look like any gameplay was in it, but you got a date, that might be something to hold on to. But if you saw gameplay in a video, especially if you saw previews that were mostly gameplay, you're going to see that game relatively soon, or at least reliably when they tell you. So if you saw some of that shit and you're like, man, I can't wait to buy that on my PS5 when I spend $600 for it in November, I got to let you know it's not happening. Pump the brakes. But
I think Resident Evil 8 is going to come out reasonably.
I think they said
holiday,
or they did say 2021. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But that game was probably in development since 7, so I would believe that game is coming out relatively soon. They probably wouldn't have shown you anything if that game wasn't on a track.
There's been a lot of things that have leaked, which usually pushes game releases back a little bit.
I would say,
but there's been a lot of things that leaked.
The past couple years, Resident Evil games release reliably in the first quarter, January or February. I would expect that Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil 8 will also be that. Resident Evil 7 was a January or maybe like a February or March game. I would imagine first quarter for this game. Even if it says holiday 2020, I don't fucking believe it. I believe first quarter next year.
Right.
Which is still not that very far away when you think about games.
Not far. No. Especially since the console is going to come out like around Thanksgiving.
Yeah, console's probably coming out no later than November, like the first week of November, because they want to get in there before Black Friday. I don't know how many of the games you saw in that video are actually launch things. I think nobody knows yet, and we'll know that soon. But I think if you wanted to see new shit and wanted to be excited about new shit happening, then you'll walk away from that presentation pretty pumped, because I think almost all of it is new shit, with the exception of them giving away GTA 5, I guess, if you buy the console, which is super weird because the game's 7 years old. But I guess it's not that weird because it's also like a top-selling game every month and has been since 2013. So maybe that's weirder. But I don't know. I don't know if there's any particular game to look out for because I don't know what's coming out or not, and when.
Demon's Souls
remaster. Good, because that game is literally unplayable. You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, and that's like maybe the reason the rest of these games even happened. And no one talks about it. We all talk about Dark Souls, the first Dark Souls, which we should. No one talks about Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have one without the other. And Demon's Souls is fucking buck wild in comparison to Dark Souls. Like just absolutely complete bullshit. In a way that's like, who makes games? Like, why the fuck would you do this? But like in a way that's hard to explain. Like you have to play this game to know like how fucking ridiculous this game was.
Yeah.
And especially like Dark Souls games have trained people to look at mechanics more and like to be more mechanically minded when they pick up these games. So like then taking all this knowledge you got from the first 3 Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Sekiro back to Demon's Souls is going to be like people losing their fucking minds, I think. Which is cool.
On top of that, it looks fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
It just looks great.
But wait till y'all meet fucking roll tendencies and shit. Wait till you find out one of the boss fights is like actually them summoning someone else, another player, to fight you. It's gonna be wild. Godfall looks like a video game. I think that actually might be a launch game. Bethesda and fucking Arcane have a game that's probably the one I'm looking forward to the most, called Deathloop. It's like a blaxploitation sort of.
It reminded me of like.
It's Dishonored, but like almost like an action, almost like a roguelike. I think the concept is the game is you have to kill 8 people within like before the clock strikes midnight. Also, someone's trying to kill you and stop you from doing that. I don't know if it's like a real, like an actual sort of Prey or Dishonored or like, immersive sim in that way, or if it's like trying to be an immersive sim that's also like a roguelike sort of run-based action game.
Right.
Either way works for me.
I'm into it.
So that's what I would look out for.
So that you're passing on the. There's a couple games I was like, this looks.
There's some games
dumb.
that are like, this looks fine. I'll be excited when there's gameplay, or B, when there's a date or there's something to be excited about. Otherwise, like most of these games seem just like concepts and like cool ideas that won't be real for years. Like we saw
the one that looks like a fucking Dead Space mixed with Death Stranding.
Yeah, it's like, how dare you threaten my fake sort of virtual world on the moon and my fake daughter and her fake cat. I was confused. I don't even know what that means, so I can't even like get excited. I want to be excited about like the new Spider-Man game, but like I kind of want us to stop making just like open world action games. So like, yes, it's Spider-Man, yes, it's Miles Morales, these are wins, but if it's just another fucking GTA with superheroes, then it's an L for me. It's gonna be a no for me, dog, I think.
That's how I feel. I'm super not into superhero games already to begin with, but then also I don't care about open world GTA games. They're just boring to me. Because you always end up doing the same stuff. Like, it's always literally the same game every single time.
That's the problem. We kind of make the same game, we reskin it with a different guy, like Infamous, or all these games are kind of just the same. Just you're doing different things. Doing it as Spider-Man doesn't necessarily make it better or worse, I guess, but it kind of makes me sad that like no matter we can just fit everything into the same fucking video game formula, and we kind of all just accept it as like just how that's part of it. That's how we do. Is what we want from our open world stuff. I would much rather want like a linear like single player fucking 10-hour action game that's just you play Spider-Man in like multiple levels or whatever.
I would much rather that. That's one of my favorite Spider-Man games ever is the one for PlayStation, where it's just like there is some components where there's a map and you can travel freely on the map to find unlockables and stuff like that, but it is a limited map. It's big. You can go to certain parts. You can look for certain things. You can fight certain opponents, but it all follows the one. That's what I've been waiting for. But from what I understand, the last Spider-Man game was kind of like that, right? I mean, it's just like it gives you the option to.
It
do
was,
all the
but
other
I think
stuff.
the problem was. It felt a lot like the second Arkham game, where like everything's compartmentalized to its own thing, but like it is a large city that you have to like go across back and forth a lot. Like you have to live in this entire map thing that I would much rather have been like a small curated sort of thingy, like Arkham Asylum was. Where Arkham Asylum felt more like Castlevania than it did like GTA, and I would much prefer something like that than the latter. But I mean, people love open world games. This is why this keeps happening. So I get it. Just there's a lot of hype for this game, and I can't find it in my heart to have the same amount of hype for that, because I know I almost feel like I know, because I've played so many of these, I already know how this game is going to play, and I feel like I've already played it without even seeing it. And that's like me not being fair to it, but B, me being pretty fair to it, I think.
Yeah. They might get my dollars just because I support the character, but like, I don't think I'm gonna thoroughly enjoy it as like a
I may end up buying it because I can't rent it like I did with Spider-Man, because Redbox doesn't do that anymore.
Dang.
Rip, shout out to Redbox just fucking that up for everyone, I guess, because I think they realized they were getting fucking hosed.
Yeah, you can finish a game. They're like, surely a gamer couldn't finish this on under 24 hours.
It's twice as much as a DVD, and I'm like, great, that means I'll spend $6 playing this game.
Yeah. Shouts out to Redbox doing that, and Netflix removing that feature where you can watch movies with your homies. Yeah. That's pretty dope. That was pretty dope. There's a game Square's working on that 100% looked like a game we're not going to see till like 2026, and I don't even know why they showed it to us, because that's some lying ass bullshit. You put Square Enix in front of a game trailer with no gameplay, and it's just like, you know, close up face like zooms and like powers. You know that game ain't coming out until you fat kid. You may literally die before.
That's
you
just how that works.
Right. Movie. I said movie. Game. Shouts out to games. All right, y'all. That's all I got for you. Jared, do you have anything else?
No. I mean, I guess shout out to that dude NASCAR like ethered after they decided to take Confederate flags down from their races, and then like one racer decided that was a bridge too far and he was going to leave the sport, and it turns out he was like 0-31 anyway, and like no one knew who he was, so it's fine. And I think
wait, I think I know you're talking. Did they make a real comment? Was that a real comment they made?
Yeah, the dude deleted his Twitter so you can't find it, but basically,
I'd like God.
Ray Kiraselli, that was his name. I'd like to announce I'm retiring from NASCAR after this season. I cannot drive a car for a league that won't allow my special flag. NASCAR replies, we actually had to Google you. You had to Google who you were. I'm sure your dozens of fans are real sad about your crusade to defend participation trophies. It's rough when the brand comes for you like that.
Get
what else do you do to accept
shit on? Even in the MAGA people are like, damn, like we don't even know who that guy is. We're good. We're set on that.
So today was a good day. That's what I'm saying.
It's the Thanksgiving clapback that we've all wanted from NASCAR. That's phenomenal. If that's true, if NASCAR did that, I'm watching NASCAR now. I'm into NASCAR now, bro. That's fucking dope. You shit on this fucking nobody loser he used to be under your banner, and he pipes up and you fucking squash him. That's the last organization I would have ever imagined to have anything negative to say, about other NASCAR
I think someone responded, finally, Ray Kiraselli offended more races than he's won. Which is another good rose on the grave.
Hey, NASCAR's part of Black Twitter now. Black Twitter's undefeated. That's all it took. Black people are going to be wearing NASCAR hats like it's nobody's business this year.
So Lil Nas X's next album drops, and he's just decked full, and he's like the lead, lap, the pace runner for the next big Daytona 500. Can't wait. Oh my god!
Shouts out to Lil Nas X, who lost half the black community when he said he was openly gay.
That's fine. Him and Sonic Fox will have this flourishing relationship, I think, in a couple of years. And it'll turn,
my god, they were ripping Sonic Fox's ass apart when they had that furry game on, that high school furry game. They're like, this is his game. This is totally his game. Oh my god. Fuck, bro. Fucking NASCAR, dude. It's all fucked. We're all gonna die. But hopefully not before we get some notoriety. I'm gonna tag some people in this. I might even clip that NASCAR line that you had, even though it's not fight related at all, and just still put it up just so people see it. People need to know. That. People definitely need to know because he tried to erase it. He tried to make sure rewrite history, much like the people who support the Confederacy.
Right. So it's the history tracks
in classic form. Yeah. You could be losing in history and make a statement for nothing too if you try hard enough. That's great. That is perfect. That is poetic justice right there. Some fucking dude, as much as the failure the Confederacy represents as just a failed nation of people, just failure. The fucking guy that's standing up to it against the Union, which is NASCAR, and NASCAR comes down with the ferocity of 100 Abraham Lincolns and liberates him from his fucking Twitter. And reminds him
why that particular set of people continue to fail.
Yeah. Perfect. Fucking absolutely perfect. But that's it. That's all I have for today. I wish you all be safe, or don't. Burn down your local Target. Fucking totally do that shit. Do it every day. Every time they build a new Target, burn the shit down. Because fuck Target, bro. I mean, I'll go there to get some shit every now and then. I do fucks with Sam's Club. I'm glad they stayed away from Sam's Club, even though it's essentially a Walmart. I'm sure they didn't stay away from Sam's Club.
There probably wasn't one nearby. This. The Sam's Club stayed away from them.
Yeah. Just keep doing what you're doing, everybody. We support you. And, you don't own this shit anyway. It's not like we didn't build all the shit off of the backs of our ancestors. Ain't my shit. And we're all kept from getting it anyway, getting our stake with laws or millions of dollars in collateral that nobody else has except for rich white people. So burn it down! Fuck it!
You'll see no argument from me.
Fuck it!
These are all good points.
Yeah. Try to stay away from small business, but fuck them too, because who cares? Burn it all down. Kill everybody. Drag everybody out of their cars and parade them around like Black Hawk Down when they got Mike Duran out of the helicopter.
Listen, when Bane showed up sounding like fucking an English private detective, wearing a fur Sherpa jacket, he did it for us.
Yeah.
He laid the way.
If you gotta make a cake, you gotta crack some eggs.
Blow up Bruce Wayne's basement, rip rich people out of their houses.
If you're taking requests, hit Capital One, because that's
all of them at once. If
where
you could.
I have credit cards. Yeah, get all of the credit card companies. I'm not. So this isn't terrorism, right? So we're not putting on a watch list, all right? I don't hope these things happen, but if you had to choose one, go the Fight Club route.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
What's a bank? What's a bank
part of
really?
That, yeah. It's not based on anything. The dollars are not based on anything.
They can get more dollars.
Ransack those. Now, a few of you might get shot in the process.
We knew that going in, though.
But that is, we need that. You knew that
what
going in.
What would Don Fry do?
You know, I'm out of shape. You don't want me there. You know what I mean? Like, I'll slow you down. What would Don Fry do? You know, I personally can't burn down a store or choke a cop out or whatever.
Yeah, I'm busy.
But, you know, more power to you. We're busy. We got things to do.
I mean, if you're not busy, then like,
change
I
the
don't
world
see
for
the problem.
me.
You know?
You know? No. Shouts out to the white people who are blocking so many people on Facebook at record times, and then you telling everyone about it.
Yeah.
We all love it very much.
Continue showing us every time you block someone. I don't want to know.
You're an
but,
ally.
Like, thank you for telling me, I guess.
I put it on the ally checklist. I'm like, who vocally blocked somebody, a Trump supporter or whatever. I'll block them too, though. It doesn't matter. Everyone gets blocked. Blocked. Au revoir, arrivederci, bon voyage. Have a nice trip. That's it.
Bye.
That was a good one. I'm gonna get that.